fall asleep during this podcast. If I fall asleep during this podcast, just keep roll me over and then make me keep doing the podcast. Just hit me with a stick. Be like, keep doing it. Come on. Podcast.
All I have to do to wake you up is be like, somebody's talking shit about Dark Souls and Metal Gear. You're like, where are they?
Metal Gear, Dark Souls. I actually saw this horrible story. I don't know if it's true. It had the real smack of everybody clapped at the end. Hold on. But before I tell that story, let me just say, welcome back everybody to the RageSelect podcast. Here at RageSelect, I'm Jeff.
And I'm Mike.
I don't want to tell a whole story and then have to do that. It was about like a paramedic where there's like this old man and he fell down, like he was having a cardiac event. Like paramedics got to him and they were doing him and he was just like flatlined, nothing could work. And then one of them just yells in his face, "You're late to work!" And he's just like he's like, "What?" And I don't think that's true, to be honest.
I've heard stories like that. There was this one guy. He was the completionist or whatever. He has a story. He was in a coma as a kid, and then his dad's like, "I'll buy you Ninja Turtles 4," and he's like, "What?"
I don't know about all that. I don't know all about that. But if I ever go into a coma, don't wake me up. Just let me go. I've earned it. I've earned a little coma time, At
that point, yeah.
Come in. You know what you do is give me like 2 years in a coma, Michael, and then you need to sneak in like a nurse's outfit and just walk up and just be like, "They put out the DLC for Elden Ring." And I'll be like, what? Get my big long beard, like my big coma beard.
I've actually considered what would happen if I was in a coma, and I know if I waked up, I'd be like, okay, I need to know what's going on in Spider-Man right now before anything else happens. I don't give a shit how many kids you've had at this point since I'm in a coma. What is going on?
I'll tell you what happened is Madam Web 4 is out. It actually turned out to be the most popular one, and they've made so many of them.
They made Madam Web versus Godzilla.
Madam Web 2, Let There Be Madam, and then Madam Web 3, Rage of the Web, webisode.
Web of Shadows,
Web of Darkness. So you watched Madam Web. I don't know. Can you talk about it?
Yeah, the review's already up, so I'm fine with talking. Also, the review is also chaos.
Okay, well,
it's full of chaos.
Sure.
If you guys listen to it, it's one of my favorites we did because it's batshit insane.
Okay.
The review itself, not just the movie. The movie is stupid. It's one of the stupidest things I've ever seen, but it's fun stupid, which is the issue I had with Morbius. When I watched Morbius, I'm like, this movie's just stupid, and also just kind of offending me with the fact that it's not even entertaining with its stupid. Where this was like, Dakota Johnson doesn't give a shit.
So stupid like Venom 2, Let There Be Carnage, stupid. My kind of
sure,
stupid.
I guess.
That's why I didn't watch Morbius, is it just looked bad.
I didn't like Let There Be Carnage, but it does have that level of stupid.
Okay.
But I think even more so because of the fact, because with Venom, Tom Hardy is doing a really good job at being Tom Hardy in Venom.
Sure.
Whereas when you watch this movie, Dakota Johnson doesn't give a shit for most of it, and also, if you explain the plot of the movie and a lot of the things that happen in the movie, you would think I was making shit up as it goes on. Especially the climax of the movie.
Okay. Don't spoil anything.
Well, I'm not going to spoil it, but there was a Simpsons reference that made me laugh or not in the movie, but that I realized that very much is a thing that is a plot point in this movie, essentially.
No.
But there's so many. This movie, because you know how the argument we keep having about Venom and Morbius was like, where's Spider-Man?
Right.
This movie is like, I'm going to explain to you why Spider-Man isn't here, but in the stupidest possible ways we can.
Nice.
And it's just so fucking funny.
I think that Sony Pictures has vastly overestimated how much any of us care about Spider-Man adjacent characters.
Yeah.
Like, I can kind of get Venom, but then they were like Morbius, and I'm like, dude, even I read Spider-Man comics, and even I'm like iffy about who the fuck is Michael Morbius.
Like, if you make a Morbius movie, Blade has to be in, like, at minimum, Blade has to be somewhere. I mean, if you're not going to use Spider-Man.
It's like when they made an Elektra movie, and it was like, do you guys know, like, it worked with Blade, don't get me wrong, but that was just Wesley Snipes. Like, we all wanted to go watch Wesley Snipes talk about ice skating uphill. Like,
there's a lot of cool shit going on with that character.
Yeah.
But like the problem is that they keep making character. So Catwoman is a great example of that.
Right.
We made a Catwoman movie, but it has nothing to do with Batman or even anything we've set up with a Catwoman before this point. And you're like, what the fuck is this?
It'd be like if they made an Oracle, the Oracle movie,
an Oracle movie.
No Batman, just Oracle.
And she's not even Batgirl at any point.
It's like Oracle versus the Creeper, and then it does badly. They're like, I guess people don't like Batman anymore, and it's like, you didn't put Batman in it, you asses.
And so the movie has like characters that are very important to Spider-Man lore, but also but super young. It's really weird because the movie takes place in 2003.
Okay,
and it does its damnedest to remind you that, hey, this is 2003. Here's a Beyonce ad in the background, and Britney's Toxic has come out, and it's everywhere, and you're like, what the fuck is happening?
It reminds me of when they made Captain Marvel in the 90s, banking on this, you guys remember the 90s, right? And I'm like, I was alive in the 90s, and I can tell you that none of y'all motherfuckers actually remember what it was like in the 90s.
They drove by a Blockbuster at one point.
Okay.
In the opening scene, there's or not the opening scene, but the opening, in this 2003 scene.
Did they do that in Captain Marvel too?
Yeah, but she walks into one, where this one they just drive by it. But apparently the Blockbuster is the easiest way to tell kids, hey kids, this is the 2000s or the 90s.
If those motherfuckers had any, if they had any bravery in them whatsoever, Madam Web would have been wearing Jinko jeans and Oakley fucking wraparound sunglasses.
That would have been so fucking funny. But the movie is it's a Terminator story, basically.
Great.
Because this is in the trailers. Not everybody. This isn't a spoiler. So Ezekiel, he's a character from Spider-Man that only me and anyone who'd read the 2000s know who he is. He keeps having these dreams about 3 Spider Women murdering him, and he's like, I'm gonna find them before they murder me.
Yeah.
So he finds a way of hacking into the NSA system to get their face that he remembers, because he has them memorized because he sees them so often.
Okay.
He's like, they're teenagers now, so I'm gonna go find them and murder them.
Sure.
And Madam Web, she has a near-death experience.
Well, don't tell too much. Don't tell too much.
Now she has cognitive. This is all in the trailer. So it has cognitive abilities, and it's up to her to keep these 3 people alive.
Okay.
And that's the plot of the movie.
That sounds boring as hell.
It does, but then you watch it, and you're like, this is stupid as shit. But because it's got some stuff with it that is interesting, but there's just not enough of it to really make it fully a good movie.
Okay.
But it's enough of it to make it a stupid movie.
Let me ask you this: is it worth watching on a streaming service you already own if you're drunk?
100%.
Okay, well then
100%.
Once it's there, guys, I'll let you know in 2 months when they dump that shit onto streaming.
My recommendation is either you watch it with a group of friends, watch it with a group of friends drunk, or watch it with
both,
or do all 3, but also have somebody who's really in the Spider-Man in the room at the same time, and just watch them as the movie goes on, because they're gonna slowly die on the inside and laugh their ass off.
Quit trying to get yourself invited to my drunk fucking Madam Web party, okay? You guys know what you really need is a sexy motherfucker who knows a lot about Spider-Man in the room.
Yeah.
When you guys are having a lot of fun.
You
nudge, nudge, hint, hint.
Because it's so funny, man. This movie, it's the funniest movie of the year for me so far.
Great.
It's not supposed to be a comedy, but it just made me laugh very hard.
Oh, well, that's thank you for the wonderful segue, because I was trying to find something to watch for this week, and I watched 2 gay comedy movies, and I liked one and I didn't like the other.
Was it too
Can
gay?
you name the movies?
I don't. There's one movie that I can think of, but I don't remember the name of it. I just remember the 2 guys. I just keep remembering the trailer, and I don't remember the actual thing of it.
Okay, so I watched Dix the Musical.
Okay.
And I watched Bottoms.
Oh, okay. Then those aren't the one I was thinking of then.
Can you guess which one I liked and which one I didn't like?
I'm guessing you like Bottoms.
I did like Bottoms, yes.
Because I heard mixed things about Dix, the musical.
The thing is,
I had to make sure I said the musical before that sentence.
I've heard weird things about Dix, you guys. Dix the Musical started out, and I was having a good time with it in the first half. But the thing is that in the first half, it's it's all kind of set up as you've got this kind of wacky world, but then you've got these zany characters. And there was a real clash between the world is, they're the 2 main characters are salesmen, right? That's a normal job.
Yeah.
They're not inseminate horses or something like that. It's they just have a regular job and whatever. And the whole movie is just about them trying to get their parents back together again. But then they get to their parents, and their parents are played by who's Nick Offerman's wife? Megan Mullany, is that her name? Mullany?
I think so. I don't remember. I know what she looks like, but I don't remember her name.
Tammy from Parks and Rec. And she's a 90-year-old crone in a wheelchair whose vagina has fallen off. And then, what's his face? Nathan Lane plays the other one's dad. Their parents are estranged for many years. And he's a gay man who has these two sewer boys, which are these little puppets of little like monsters that like, and he like feeds them by putting lunch meat in his mouth and spitting it into their mouth and stuff.
Let me stop you real quick.
Yeah.
Were you on acid and you were just watching something? Because this is insane.
Absolutely not. The thing is that around the point where the parents got introduced, I was like, oh, this has gone so zany that there's no grounding whatsoever in this movie. And so whatever happens is, and like, trust me, by the end of the movie, the gay god is involved, so like it goes off the rails.
Okay.
Like, and it just kind of like lost me at a certain point where I'm like, the humor, when everything is farcical, then there's nothing to compare your wacky humor to. And this may just be because it's a very gay movie and I'm very straight, and it's like, well, I'm not like super straight, but like, whatever. It was a little, it lost me.
No, I that's the thing I hear about the movie, is that it has a lot of issues, that because even some of my friends that are very gay were like, no, it's just not that good of a movie.
Yeah.
Kind of thing.
It started strong, but it didn't go very well. And then I also, I watched Bottoms. I thought Bottoms was really interesting because Bottoms is just like super formulaic, like nerds in high school come up with a thing and it makes them popular, but it's based on a lie, and then you can guess exactly what happens. Like, things are going well, but then, and like it was so formulaic that I enjoyed the hell out of it. It was like 90 minutes long, and then the fact that the two main characters, that it was like it was that but gay. It was that but like, instead of nerdy dudes trying to get laid at prom, it was like two gay women.
Well,
like,
what makes it more interesting, because you're bearing the lead in this thing, is that it's not that they just come up with a thing that makes them popular. It's a fight club that they decide to do, and they have to get sponsored like as a normal club. You have in a school, because it's got like this weird, almost dreamlike logic to the fact that everybody's just cool with it, kind of thing.
Yeah, I mean,
and also, what is that football player's name? Marshall Lynch, is that his name?
Oh, I don't know.
Who plays the coach?
Oh,
he is legitimately like one of the funniest like guys out of sports that's come out in a long time.
What I was really surprised by was, I know that the Rachel Sennott, I think she's like on like Broad City or something.
I think so, yeah.
I've never seen her before, but what was really weird to me was seeing Io Edebiri. She was like the co-lead on The Bear, as like the woman that comes in to like help run the restaurant, and she's like the awkward gay teenager in this movie, because you can cast 30-year-old women as 16-year-olds, but I was just like, why is she so familiar? And she does a really good job, because I've watched her both those shows. Those are two completely different characters. So but yeah, it's on Amazon. It's included with Prime. So if you got Prime and you got 90 minutes and you just want to watch like a high school sex comedy, I didn't want to, I mean, like the Fight Club thing, that definitely has a spin on it. But to be honest, I've seen this exact movie 100 times, and it's just, there's a thing that happens and the nerds start to become popular, and then, oh no, here are the forces pushing back against the nerds. It's like, I've seen this movie 100 times. But it's not bad. Like,
no, yeah, that's the thing, is like it has enough of a twist on everything that you're just cool with it.
It's like watching a rom-com, and then like 2/3 of the way through the movie, and you're just like, oh no, it looks like the two leads have had a weird misunderstanding that's gonna make them break up. It's like, oh, who could have seen it coming? Everybody saw it coming.
A good rom-com that still does it and you're still enjoying it. Those are the good ones.
Yeah. So yeah, well, speaking of, nope, I got nothing. Let's talk about the news.
Speaking of gay things.
Speaking of gay stuff, let's talk about this Xbox thing. No. So last week there was a big, I don't know even why I have this video up, because it's just
because you like Phil Spencer, Jeff.
It's Phil Spencer and
you're gay for Phil Spencer.
Sarah Bond and Matt Booty talking on the Xbox podcast, but in video. So that would have been a good transition. I don't know if I'm qualified to make it though, but. So anyway, last week there was a rumor that came out that said that Xbox was going to be taking some of their platform-specific titles and making them multi-platform. Yeah. And this made everybody freak out. The one thing that I especially liked was people were like, does this mean they're going to stop making Xboxes? And it's like, no, you don't.
No.
Like,
yeah, this isn't the Dreamcast kind of thing. Like the Xbox Series X didn't fail so badly that they're like, we're only going to make software. No, that's not what happened here at all.
So they basically realized, and last week I did some research and I found out that Xbox apparently interacts a lot more with Xbox influencers and fans and stuff than PlayStation or Nintendo does.
Phil Spencer is a kind of guy who he's a gamer's gamer, like businessman, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And the fact that he pays attention to what's going on more than anybody else. This is the reason Phil Spencer is able to get away with as much shit as he does.
Yeah.
Because whenever something bad happens and people are like, exclusives aren't happening, he just sort of sits them down like a gaming Mr. Rogers and just calms them down. And you're like, how the hell does he do that every single time?
Yeah. Well, it was interesting because the backlash to the rumor or the excitement of
it was like a polarizing thing.
Yes,
because the people that were the most upset were the most diehard people.
Yeah.
And the people that were the most excited were very much like me and you, which is this: I have both things, and I'm cool with this. Like, if this happens, I'm super cool with it, kind of thing. But the main reason is because it wasn't just like some of the titles; it was like the biggest titles that they're like, this is the reason I have this console.
Yep.
Which the main one was Starfield.
Right. So. Did you actually get a chance? Did you watch this one?
I didn't watch it, but I read some people talking about it on Twitter after it came out.
I actually was I was very relieved that like the first thing they did was go like, okay, let's talk about this exclusivity thing, and they basically said we're going to be taking 4 titles that used to be Xbox exclusive, and we're going to be making them multi-platform. Yeah. And they said, "Oh, well, which ones?" And he's like, "I'm not going to say." And then it was like, "What about Starfield and Indiana Jones?" Like, no, not those 2. And then, like, I don't know, 2 hours later, it was confirmed. Like, people sussed it out, and it was confirmed.
They sussed out the 4, and even then, they talked to him again about. And he's like, "Well, maybe Indiana Jones eventually might show up. Who knows?"
Yeah,
kind of thing. But the 4 that they chose, one of them we already. Pretty much everybody knew.
This is obvious. This is a test balloon, right? Yeah. They don't want to do this with anything. They don't want to do this with Halo. They don't want to start with Gears or Halo.
You can't, because that was the weird thing about the rumors. Like, are they going to put Gears on the PlayStation? I'm like, no, they're not.
Well, I don't know. Gears has pretty much been dead for a while now.
Yeah, but why put it on something else then? If that's the case, like, you should put something that's newer, kind of thing.
So the 4 games are Hi-Fi Rush, Pentiment, Sea of Thieves, and Grounded, which are all smaller games.
The only surprise among those 4 is the Sea of Thieves.
You think so?
Absolutely.
I mean, I don't know. Like all of those companies, you know, Tango Softworks, Obsidian, Rare, and Obsidian did both Pentiment and Grounded. So those 3 companies, they've done multi-platform releases in the past.
Yeah, they have.
So.
But the reason Sea of Thieves is the only one that I find fascinating about the entire thing is because it's the oldest on there,
right?
And it's been on
it's the first Game Pass game. That's why I bought Game Pass.
Yeah, it's the very first Game Pass game. It was one of the biggest Xbox One games that is still around.
Yep.
Kind of thing, and the fact that like rarely actually does put out anything that's not Xbox related, which is the reason it's the only surprise of the entire thing.
Yep. So. The interesting thing that I found was, and I really appreciate that that Xbox does. I feel like they're a little bit more open about what they're doing than Sony or Nintendo. Sony and Nintendo, they just issue press releases. So they asked Phil Spencer about this, and it's kind of an interesting idea. And what he said was, okay, so why take things from the Xbox and put them on other platforms? And his rationale seemed to be that, like, well, your player growth at this point is it's mostly done, right? Until a new generation comes or there's some kind of seismic shift, you're probably not going to be converting a huge chunk of people into the Xbox ecosystem that aren't already there.
Yeah.
So... as we all know, this is the part that I get a little salty about. As we all know, companies must make more money every year or else they are failures. Yeah. They must make more money. They must make more money. If they don't make more money, they're dying and they're dead and fuck them. And they must be making more money.
Everything needs to be infinite growth.
Right. So the question is, if you want to make more money and you're not going to be able to convert more people into your ecosystem, you can either try to make more money off of the existing people inside of that ecosystem, or you can start branching outside of your bubble to get people.
Yeah.
So, and I think that's kind of a, okay, first off, I think there are probably more ways than just those two ways to do that.
No, there absolutely is. The issue is that those are the two easiest ways.
Yes. I also think that this move is being made by Xbox because Sony is doing so well at putting stuff out on the PC.
Yeah,
Like,
because that's what that's exactly literally what PlayStation is doing. Like
yes.
I said, they looked at the two options and they're like, well, just put this on PC, and then they made, and Helldivers made a shit ton more because of it.
Mm-hmm. Well, no, I mean, just everything they put on the Days Gone made a good chunk of cash, and it wasn't like they had to start from scratch. It wasn't developed for the PC. It was just they put it out later.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Phil Spencer said that he says that increasingly he sees platform exclusivity as being less and less of a thing as time goes on. Sure you do, Phil. Just because you guys don't have any fucking shit to put up, like you guys have set your business up so that everything comes out on the Xbox and the PC. Like, you're only missing one platform for modern video games at that point. So
the other thing is Phil has weird thought processes. Like he had the thing where he's like, having a big exclusive won't make anybody buy an Xbox. And so when the rumors started coming out that the Indiana Jones was gonna maybe be on other things, one of the first comments I saw was, I was gonna buy an Xbox to play Indiana Jones. And I'm like, come on, dude, like you have to understand how untrue that statement was.
Yeah. So that's what they're doing. They're going to start putting stuff out on other platforms.
Yeah, and the Hi-Fi Rush one, everybody was pretty sure was going to happen either way.
Yeah,
because of the
some shirts
in the
and
game, all the different
yeah.
colors.
Yep.
And they're like, no, this is super obvious that this is going to happen. But yeah, the other one, like, I'm very happy that Pentiment is going to be able to be on more things though. Because Pentiment, is one of those, is an Xbox Game Pass success story.
Yeah.
And the fact that the guy was like, we literally could not have made this game without Game Pass's very existence.
Yes. So yeah, that was the big takeaway, and that's the big thing. There's some other stuff here, rattled off pretty quick. With Activision Blizzard, Diablo 4 is coming to Game Pass in March.
Okay.
Great. I think Diablo 4 sucks. Like, I'm sorry. I couldn't be bothered to play that game. I played every other Diablo game, and I started playing it and went, this is fucking boring. I restarted 5 times with every class to be like, is it the class? And I was like, no, this game is boring, and I hate it. But hey.
I remember when it first came out, or the beta or something, you were like, this isn't so bad.
Yeah.
And now that the actual game, yeah, that's a shame.
They talked about work on a new Xbox. There's got new Xbox hardware coming. They're going to be announcing something this holiday season. They said a bunch of this is the next step in Xbox. We're going to have a new thing. It's going to blow your fucking mind. You're going to go crazy. You're going to shoot yourself in the head.
We're gonna beat you the punch and finally make the sex box.
In Persona 3, you're going to shoot yourself in the head at Persona 3. It's so exciting. Typical. I mean, nobody comes out and they're just like, yeah, we got a new Xbox coming out. It's fine. It's going to be like $50 more, and it'll be okay. Like,
we're adding the cable box feature back to the Xbox.
we're putting the Kinect 2 into every Xbox Series X.
We're going backwards, guys. It didn't work the first time. It'll work the second time.
Yeah. They did make a pretty good point, though, that with Activision Blizzard in the house and with some of the previous multi-platform deals, like when they Deathloop was like a PS5 exclusive until it wasn't. Microsoft already isn't just like, it isn't all locked into the Xbox ecosystem.
But they stopped doing that a very long time ago.
Especially when you consider PC. Especially when you consider PC.
One of the Halo games came out on PC. That was already the beginning of it, really.
Yeah. They also talked a little bit about game library and preservation stuff, about trying to make sure that there's stuff that your game library, they want to focus on making your game library accessible moving forward, and that they are keeping game preservation in mind as things move into the future.
He says that
nebulously. Yeah, I don't know.
But I don't see the higher ups being as happy about it. It's going to be like, if anything, worst case scenario, depending, is that we'll have another Super Mario Brothers situation. Yeah, where you have to keep rebuying Super Mario Brothers every time you buy a new console.
I don't know. So far, they've been able to tout that as a pretty good feature.
Well, they've been the best at it of the three.
Yeah. There is some rumor that they might be trying to get into the handheld business. This is just like pure rumor, but
that's a pure rumor. But I don't see a reason to, honestly, with the Steam Deck being as popular as it is.
Well, you want that Steam Deck money, man. You want to go head to head with Steam. Like, hey, that's an area that we're not making money in. What can we get 20%? And they tried to sell fucking cell phones and MP3 players, for God's sake.
They did.
Microsoft will make anything once.
The Zune was not that bad.
Yeah. They sold that HoloLens to people.
That's true. They did.
And
I
people
heard
were like,
Apple's is not going well.
yeah, and people were like, $3,000 for a HoloLens. That's ridiculous. Apple's like Vision Pro, and people were like, shut up and take my money.
Yeah, apparently it's giving people migraines and shit.
Oh, yeah. People are returning the hell out of it.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. I mean, like, that would be kind of interesting if the next Xbox was basically just like a Steam Deck.
That would be interesting if they decided to just be like the Switch.
Yeah.
Outright.
Or if it was
I don't think you could, but yeah, that'd be interesting.
If it was that PS5 handheld thing.
Yeah.
But like for streaming Game Pass, like for xCloud Game Pass, like if it was dedicated not to streaming off your Xbox, but just streaming off of their dedicated servers, there's a lot of interesting things that could happen. I just think that right now Microsoft hasn't... they feel very aimless. They don't feel like they don't feel like they're all in to directly compete with Nintendo and Sony on the ground that those companies stand on, but they also don't feel like they're doing anything that's so radically different that like, oh yeah, definitely I'm going to be in for Xbox.
No,
like,
it reminds me of Google a long time ago, which is that they just keep getting random ideas and then not following through on them.
Yes. So yeah, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. I think that's kind of it.
That's kind of it.
That's
to
kind
be honest,
of it.
that I know of.
Game Pass. We get to
like I know he had some interviews afterwards where he was like, "Well, maybe Indiana Jones could be on something." Like I don't know, because Indiana Jones is a very popular title.
Thank you. I'm sorry, my brain is addled. No, this is something we should wrap up this particular part with. Guys, if this works, Indiana Jones and Starfield will be on the PS5.
Oh, 100%.
Like, if they make a lot of money with this, like, I'm sorry to say, but Xbox doesn't care about your feelings.
No.
Like, your platform loyalty was useful to them as long as it made them money. Now, if they've made the maximum amount of money that they can make by only having Halo on something with the Xbox on the front, you could bet your sweet ass they're going to put fucking Halo on the PS5 and Gears of War and anything else that they can, because that's kind of where the wind is blowing. Like, a lot of these companies have kind of hit the top as far as where their profits can go, where they can make a little bit more, but to have a quantum, to make the line go real up in a quarter, you're going to have to get into a different platform. And because Xbox is already on the Xbox and the PC, the only platforms left are the Switch and the PS5, and as long as they don't see 30% dip in Game Pass subscribers who are just angry about like the fact that Pentiment is on the Switch, they're going to put Halo on other stuff eventually. Like, this is the new trend, because companies like money, they don't care about your feelings on Twitter.
One of the main reasons I feel is because one of the reasons console exclusivity worked as hard as it did. Like, the hardest it ever worked was during the 360 PS3 era.
Yeah.
And that was because things were still cheap enough to do things with that way. Mm-hmm. And so you were still making the max amount of money at that point. But then once everybody wanted to start playing Fortnite with their friends on other consoles, and they were making a shit ton of money by being on multiple things while everybody's able to still play with each other.
Yep.
Xbox was the first one to be like, we should start just letting them all play with other people, because all it does is it keeps making us more money. Mm-hmm. And like, you know, PlayStation has been the most hesitant on it. Nintendo's hesitant more because they're dumb.
Yeah. they're slow to act.
Yes.
They're very slow to act.
And they're also very protective of their IPs too. But when they're not, like it lets them, like, let's Fortnite let everybody play with each other. But it's the reason you're never going to see a Nintendo Fortnite skin, because they're very adamant about not letting that cross over into another territory.
I also think that development cost going up. like going up and up and up and up over the years.
Yeah, everything is much more expensive.
You need a bigger return on your investment.
Yeah.
They already did the move to make games $70. You can't do that again. You can't do that again for like another 10 years.
No,
matter what Yves Guillemot thinks.
The problem is that not everybody can do what a fighting game does, which is where there's another $20 fighting or season pass every other. Like there's 3 or 4 of them on Tekken 7. Which causes that game. So if you bought that game brand new, when it came out, and I think it was still $60 at this point when Tekken 7 came out, and then you kept buying each pass, you spent like $120 something plus dollars on that thing. Same with Dragon Ball FighterZ when it came out. I spent a shit ton of money on Dragon Ball FighterZ. That was one game overall, and not everybody can get away with that.
Yep. Very few can. That's the problem that we're reaching right now, is that you've reached a level of saturation. But then, you know what the other thing might be, Michael, is that it's kind of like I was thinking of saying this, we were talking about Madam Web. I think the other problem with this, we actually have a story about this later down the line. I don't know if we'll get to it or not, where it's like, also, nobody knows what the fuck gamers are going to do next.
Oh, no.
Like, they might sell 12 million copies of Power World. Like, you might have tried for years to make like
like a Pokemon clone of some kind.
No, what was that? What was the Redfall? You might have spent years and millions of dollars on Redfall, a AAA looter shooter cooperative, and then this fucking Japanese company is like, we ripped off Pokemon. Everybody's like, fucking give it to me now! And they're like, wait, what? How did that happen?
No one knows what becomes big.
Yeah,
like every time
Dredge becomes like a really good. Dave the Diver is like a huge
people were throwing things at the wall, and then they're like, here's a new fucking Halo game, and I can't really care about this.
Helldivers 2 though.
Helldivers 2 though. That's fucking cool as shit though. Like no one generally knows what anybody wants anymore. Yeah. I don't know what I want anymore.
I know what I want, and it's called DLC for Elden Ring. God damn it. All right, well let's get through a few more of these before we take a break. Phil Spencer apparently before this podcast had an internal meeting just to assure people that like we are not going to stop making consoles. We're still going to make consoles. Everybody fucking like calm down. I don't know where this came from. The idea that if you put Indiana Jones on the PS5 that Xbox would also be like, nah, we're not going to sell the $500 consoles anymore. And it's like the store nets them 30% on like everything that sells on the store. And like I know there's Game Pass, but the thing prints money for them. Like if they break even on the hardware, they're still making money on store sales. So
it was the dumb rumor mill that caused people to do that. And it was it was not even stupid. It was the idea that people thought Xbox was going to be the new Sega.
This is the stupidest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Exactly. That doesn't make literally any sense.
No.
Like it's the reason I brought it up earlier. I'm like the Xbox Series X wasn't the Dreamcast.
Nope.
It didn't sell badly.
Nope.
It wasn't the point where people were throwing out Xbox Series X's into dumpsters. Like that's how bad the Dreamcast sold. Like a lot of people forget that retailers literally couldn't get rid of them, so they just threw them out.
It's also worth noting, and I feel like people need to remember this more often. Nintendo and like the PlayStation division of Sony and Nintendo, their primary like income stream is the consoles. Like not just the consoles, but the consoles and the games and all that stuff. You got to remember, Xbox is a division of Microsoft, a $3 trillion company that makes money with every single computer that is sold in the entire world that has Windows on it. Like
they make money technically off of other consoles.
Yeah.
Because of the hardware they make.
Yeah. Like they are, and Xbox apparently makes enough money. It's not failing. Even if it was failing, Microsoft could keep the Xbox division propped up for like a century.
No.
Just with the operating system licensing fees that they make.
They could be losing money the entire time, and they literally would not blink at it.
Yes. When people talk about how like Nintendo laughed at Microsoft when they wanted to buy them, but like Microsoft has the money to buy Nintendo.
Yeah.
Like the whole company Nintendo outright to just be like, you are mine now.
The only reason they were laughed out isn't because of money.
Yeah.
It was because the leadership was like, fuck no.
Right.
Like no amount of money would cause them to sell it.
Yep.
Unless the leadership changed. And that's the thing. Everything is for sale eventually.
Yes.
Like if all of a sudden all of those if all of the leadership just didn't care about Nintendo one day, they would just Microsoft would just outright buy them.
Yep.
Same with PlayStation, to be honest.
Absolutely.
Same with anything. Like, that's just that. And if anything's proven that, it was Activision Blizzard.
Yes. Yep. Well, speaking of PlayStation, we gotta really. This is a very strange story. This is a very strange story. Okay, so PlayStation
I know the story,
publishes their sales figures.
Yeah.
Xbox does not publish their sales figures, but there was a recent. Where did this come from? It was a recent. It was a Take-Two Q3 financial report that said around 77 million Gen 9 consoles, which is the Series X and the PS5, have been sold as of December of 2023. Sony stats said that around December 2023, there have been 50 million PlayStation 5s sold.
Yeah.
So if you do the math on this,
very easy math.
Yes, it's pretty easy math. You'll find that Microsoft is not going to quit making Xboxes, but the PS5 is roughly sold 2-to-1 over the Xbox during its lifetime, like for the last 4 years. So
the Xbox Series X has not been doing fantastically.
No, but I think that they, with their shift to Game Pass and the fact that they said day and date, like Forza Horizon is going to be on the PC and the Xbox, they set themselves up for this. Why buy an Xbox when you could play Diablo 4 on your PC through Game Pass or Halo or any of the shit that has come out, Pentiment or Sea of Thieves?
They're doing fine. They're like, as much as funny as it is to look at these stats every time when it comes out, seeing that the PS5 is literally beating the Xbox Series X to death. They're not worried about it. If they were, there were so many different things that would be happening at this exact moment.
Yes.
All of those rumors would have just been happening.
Yes.
Every single one of those rumors.
Also, it is again, I've pointed this out before, but I do like to repeat myself, and if you're listening to this, you already know that. You guys got to remember that the fight between the Xbox and the PlayStation is only happening in the United States of America. In Japan, they do not care one bit about Xboxes, and Europe is a PlayStation fucking continent. Like,
that fight got lost a very long time ago.
Yeah, so that kind of makes a certain amount of sense. Where if you sold the same amount of units in all three places in the globe, but Xbox only sold in America, then it's like, okay, I can see that.
I remember laughing when the PS5 came out. The only reason Xbox Series X's were selling in Japan is because no one could find a PS5.
Right.
That was literally the story.
Yep. So, but it's not all sunshine and roses for the PS5 because the last earnings report for PS5 shows that their holiday sales were down, and they have readjusted their sales estimates down from 25 million PS5s in the current financial year down to 21 million. So this financial year ends in March, right? Then Q4. So again, I think this goes back to what what's the Xbox guy's name? My brain.
Phil Spencer.
I was going to say Matt Frank. I'm like, I know it's not fucking Matt Frank.
Turns out Matt Frank has been head of Microsoft this whole time.
Phil Spencer, let's see who you really are. Matt Frank.
That's why he's never here anymore. I'm just kidding. He's always here.
I think they've hit relatively maximum saturation for this console cycle. So they've hit the top of the roller coaster, and now those sales figures are going to be slowly but surely ratcheting down a little bit at a time. You could probably get a bump by putting out a Pro or something, like if you wanted to put out, because we're about halfway through this, what they would call this generation.
Yeah.
The 10-year cycle, we're 4 years in at this point. Like, this will be the time for a hardware refresh maybe, but for the most part, the people that want a PS5 have purchased a PS5.
Well, not only that, the people who wanted it bought it because the thing that everybody was waiting for came out.
Right.
Which is a Spider-Man 2.
Yep.
It was a Spider-Man 2 machine. The game came out.
Some of us want to play Demon Souls remake. Thank you very much.
No, but this is what caused the peak of the saturation though. Was when Spider-Man 2 came out. The people climaxed, and the problem is they can't climax again until like something really big comes out.
Sure.
And the only thing that we know of at the moment that people are stupid excited about is Wolverine, which we've been told doesn't come out for like another year or two.
Yep.
So there's no reason for anybody else to want to get another one until that even happens.
We actually got that news because there's not going to be. They came out with a statement basically saying like there's not going to be anything like Spider-Man or God of War this whole year.
Yeah.
And next year, Death Stranding 2. Right?
Yeah.
Like that's a thing. But this year, what I think is funny is that even though they don't have a God of War or a Spider-Man, apparently Helldivers is just fucking like tearing the shit out of the PlayStation 5. Like you and I saw it just completely throw up on itself and die as we tried to end that one mission, and the frame rate went down to like 1.
Yeah, that shit was amazing. But everybody's playing it. Like everybody loves it, and they're constantly working on it. And it was $40.
Yep.
And that really helped that one. Like between that and Palworld, the lesson here is that we need more games that are similar in scope that way. Like they don't need everything to be a bajillion dollars. Like, for instance, we're looking at this site, and one of my favorite games is an ad thing on there, which is Evil West.
Evil West, yeah.
Which is like, we need more games like that.
Yep.
Like games that aren't always going to be $70, and if they are, they're still like a fun time. It's obvious that there's more return on that investment because it wasn't like it's more like the way Ghostbusters Afterlife was, which was where the budget was like not in the triple digits, but it made them triple digits amounts of money. Like they need more of those.
Yeah, it's this meme. It's this meme. I want shorter games with worse graphics made by people who are paid more to work less, and I'm not kidding.
Yes.
Like
that's exactly what I want.
I 100% agree with that, and we need more of those. We do.
And we need more of them to be not fucking microtransaction heavy too.
Absolutely.
Which is what Helldivers was like. One of the devs was like, we designed this game to be like, you need to earn those microtransactions.
Yep.
Because if you don't earn those, then your game is dead.
Apparently what the microtransactions you can buy in Helldivers are just like so redonkulous. Like the devs are like, it doesn't do anything. It's like a gun that you could show your friends, and that's it. Like it doesn't work better than another gun.
It's specifically to get those whales.
Yeah,
that's what it's designed for.
Well, actually, it's a good transition because speaking of Helldivers 2, Helldivers 2 is recruiting. The developer is like, we need fucking bodies over here.
We need you for freedom.
Yeah, for Super Earth and managed democracy. Because they had a pretty hard launch.
I don't even think they expected that launch to be as hard as it did.
Nope. And so, yeah, they're online basically saying like, we're going to start looking for more amazing developers that can help us accelerate and beef up our content plans. Jobs will be going up soon. If you're a senior dev, there's always an open application, and just like hit us up in our DMs and we'll consider it. I mean, this is excellent news for all the people who have been...
It's fantastic news.
Let go. It's, this is going to be that thing. I was trying to get there was a time like many years ago where I was trying to get a job at a place, and somebody tipped me off, and they were just like, yeah, man, like they're going to be hiring next week. Send me your resume. And I sent them my resume. And then they were like, sorry, man, our hiring director put the job on Facebook, and we got 2,500 applications. And I was like, well, son of a bitch.
Jesus, yeah.
So I'm sure that they're going to be able to...
There's a lot of devs that are looking for work right now.
Yes.
And you guys are going to get inundated with them.
Yes. So, yeah. Yep. I mean, but good luck. I mean, I hope that they get more people. It seems like apparently there was a lot of kerfuffle online that they opened up like the robot side. Like they started the Western Front with the robots.
Oh.
And the robots are like 4 times as hard as the bugs to deal with. And so people have just given up that side of the galaxy and are just fighting bugs and letting the robots run rampant on the other side. And it's like, oh, okay.
No, yeah. There's eventually those are for the advanced people.
Yeah.
And that they're going to get people eventually.
Speaking of people who need developers, apparently Pocket Pair, the developers for Palworld, are just like, we need people. But this is that place is such a fucking like seat of their pants mess. Like
100%.
Like they put a thing online where they're just like, we just need like anybody. Like do you have experience if doing anything? Get in touch with us. I don't know. Like they accidentally stepped in a puddle of gold, and now it's like we have to get staffed up to become a big boy company, or else
this isn't happening.
This whole thing is going to fall apart.
The faucet's going to stop running if we don't get more plumbers.
Well, the nice thing is, right, like they got the cash. So they all don't have to work anymore. They can all retire, but like there's more gold in them their hills if you just clean that shit up a little bit and add more pals.
Yeah,
like
Microsoft knocked on their door with a truckload of money, and they're like, I don't know what to do.
Yes. So I don't know.
It's the great old adage. I didn't think I was going to make it this far. I don't know what to do.
Yeah. But it's not all sunshine and roses for Power World because apparently the player numbers have started to drop off. And one of the devs went online to basically be like, yeah, of course they did. Yeah. Like, there's a finite amount of content in the game. And this is one of the most healthy. This is why I know that Pocket Pair is not like a corporate owned company and they have no idea what they're doing, because their statement was just like, here. In May of 2023, I was convinced that Power World could break the 50,000 player mark. They said anything above that seemed unobtainable enough, and I certainly never expected to reach into the millions. It's taken years to get to this point, and Power World only really begins here. Everyone is working hard to fix the issues and preparing new content. Some of you may have had your fun over the last 3 weeks and have found yourself putting the game down. That's fine. Like, it's just like
that is not a normal statement in this year of our Lord 2024.
Yes. And I think they're just like, when this happens, the gaming journalism industry loves to be like, is Power World dying? Is this the end of Power World? A flash in the pan. It has no legs. And it's like, nah, man, like, we're going to fix and put stuff into it, and then people come back when you put out patch 1. That's like how games work. Like,
yeah, this is an early access game, guys.
Nobody was like, Power World, I'm going to play that and no other games for the rest of my life. Like, this is the only thing I'm going to play from now on.
If anything, all those players just went to Helldivers.
Yeah. They move around, they come back, et cetera, et cetera. So
yeah, every game is going to be like that for a very long time. Like, not just very long time. Every game is just going to be like that.
Well, I think a lot of times
infinite growth is never true.
One, it lets you write a headline with the word Power World, or with the word Power World in it, which is clicks. And then two, it's possible that some of these people are looking at it from a live service perspective and being like, what? Players are leaving already. How will this game survive? And it's like, it's not fucking Suicide Squad killed the Justice League.
It wasn't designed to be like that yet.
You can just load it up as a single player game, like when the next patch comes out, and be like, oh, cool, I gotta go see what my pals are up to. Hey, pals, what's up? Type of thing.
It's like the way a fighting game is. Every time a new character comes up, the fucking player count shoots back up.
Yep.
That's just it's going to happen with this one for a very long time.
Yep.
That's what their hope is, to be honest.
Absolutely. And with that, we're going to go ahead and take a break, because we're trying to do, I want longer podcasts with shorter segments where everybody is able to go outside more, and I mean it. So we'll be back in a minute with more podcast. And we're back. And Michael, unfortunately, we have to start with some layoff news, because we cannot go through a single week without somebody letting go of people. Yeah. This time around, it's Blackbird Interactive, the people that are making Homeworld 3, which isn't even out yet. So
that was interesting. Yeah. Remember that E3? It was just like Homeworld, like every 20 seconds. That was weird as shit.
Well, they put out a demo for that Steam Next Fest.
Oh, they did?
They finally put that out, and then they also said that because of the feedback of the demo that they got, they had to push back a little ways. They pushed the release date back a little ways to redo some of the control stuff that people complained about. But yeah, apparently they've had to let go of a few people. I mean, this is probably just kind of the same stuff that we've seen a lot of other places, where the financials of running a studio have gone up and the venture capital and stuff have gone down, and so they're laying off some folks. But it's not as brutal as the stuff that we've seen, but it always sucks. So.
Yeah, it's never fun. It's never fun.
Yep. Let's see. Speaking of stuff that sucks, Dead Cells apparently is done. They put out an announcement last week saying that that they're done. There will be no further updates for Dead Cells. And what's out there is pretty much their last patch was going to be like their last patch, and they're done. Which turned into some big giant drama. I had to read like a whole blog post about this, but apparently, let me see if I can sum it up.
Okay.
Yeah, let me see if I can sum it up. So Dead Cells so there are two companies involved with Dead Cells.
Yeah.
Dead Cells was originally made by Motion Twin, which is the main company, which is apparently like 2 or 3 people. They've changed hands over the last couple of years. Like the guy that was actually the head developer on Dead Cells, he's left. And he's the one, he wrote this like scathing blog post. But then apparently at a certain point, a lot of the people that worked on the original Dead Cells, they spun off into their own development studio called Evil Empire. And Evil Empire is the one that has been doing all of the big content updates for Dead Cells. So they've been working on, I forget what the name of they announced that thing with the little axolotl guys.
Oh, yeah.
Remember?
I forget the name of it, but I know what you're talking about.
Yeah. So they put that out, and then the Evil Empire folks were working on all of the updates to Dead Cells. So this guy, the developer, I should make sure that I say his name. Let's see. Co-founder Sebastian Bernard came out and basically was like, "This is some bullshit. Evil Empire was by no means done making content for Dead Cells. They had 5 more updates planned for Dead Cells that they were working on. But the conception here was that the main company, now that they've announced their next game, does not want Dead Cells stepping on the feet of the game that they are getting ready to put out. And so they just axed like this other studio's contract for making these updates, and so they are now just like, they're going off, they're going to do their own thing. They're still a studio. They still have a good track record. They're going to do some stuff. In fact, they even hinted that there might be one more update, and the only reason I can think that might be the case is because
they're probably already
like 85% of the way through it, and they're just like, if you guys want to throw this away, that's fine, but you've already spent the money to mostly do this.
Might as well do it.
There's also some stuff, you guys should go read the blog post this guy put out, basically saying like, I know everybody internally, and when the people that were left at Motion Twin were asked about like, well, what about what we owe to the people that have like bought Dead Cells over the years, and they were just like, we don't owe them shit. Like basically like, fuck those guys. We've got a new game to put out. Now this is all uncorroborated, but if anybody knew what was going on internally in those two studios, it would be this guy that was like one of the co-founders of Motion Twin and was like a big hype man for the stuff that Evil Empire was doing.
Because normally whenever these sorts of things happen, it's like, oh, it's this one guy who's like very low on the totem pole. It's like, I heard it from a guy who heard from a guy that this thing happened. It's like, it's like, no, this makes more sense because he probably was very chummy with both sides for a very long time, and they probably just told him something over drinks, kind of thing.
Also, I'm inclined to believe him because he voluntarily like resigned from Motion Twin, even though that was like the studio that he founded to get Dead Cells out the door. And it's like, oh, I know that story is when people are just like, all right, I fucking hate you guys. Get out of here. Like this has turned into something that I hate
anymore.
So, which is a real shame because Dead Cells, I think that Dead Cells is one of those games that the people that like playing it, more than happy to keep buying DLC and more updates and stuff. The stuff that they've done has been great. Every one of them has added more cool stuff. You and I played the Castlevania one. That got you into Dead Cells.
They got me into Dead Cells, and I loved it so much. It's like, oh my god, this is amazing.
Yeah.
And it was one of those games like this. It was so well made that it could have gone on forever. And it sounds like they really were wanting to do that.
Yep.
But sometimes it's like I get the decision, because that happens all the time. The problem is whenever they like completely make it impossible to play that game. Like Overwatch 1 is a good example of that.
Right.
And like in this case, like honestly, like it's not like they were like, okay, now no one can play Dead Cells ever again, kind of thing.
Right.
Like this is another example of a game that's just, it lost a bunch of content before it ever got to get released. That happens a lot more than most people know, because most people don't usually tell anybody after it happens. It's just, this is a case where we all found out.
Yep. Windblown. That was the name of the axolotl game. I just want to make sure I got that out there. Speaking of some stupid developer bullshit, should we take a second to talk about quadruple A games, Michael?
Yeah, I heard about those.
You got the new quadruple A games.
It's become a meme, actually.
You got that quadruple A Skull and Bones. Yves is out there telling you, nah, man, this is a fully featured quadruple A live service game. The fuck it is. The fuck it is.
Absolutely not.
That thing's development. And you know what? Okay, listen. I just got done recording the dojos for that.
Oh, you ended up doing it already?
Yeah. Well, first off, let me just say this. I said it in the videos, but I want to say it here. If you are at all interested in playing Skull and Bones, know that you can go sign up for 1 month of the $14.99 Ubisoft Plus Premium, and you can play Skull and Bones. You can play it on your Xbox. There's direct connection between that account and your Xbox. That's how I played it. I actually played the early access version of it because it gives you the premium version of every one of their games. Go to privacy.com, make a one-time use credit card, give it a maximum $15, sign up for Ubisoft Premium, play it for 1 month. When they try to auto-renew, you won't get auto-renewed because the card will be closed out.
Yeah.
Boom. This is stupid. This is stupid. Like, no. If you guys had any... If they had any fucking... integrity whatsoever, this game would have been $40, maybe $30. It is full of microtransactions. All the stuff that you get out of it is microtransactions. It doesn't seem like, if you're into pirate game, it seems like an okay pirate game. I mean, it's okay.
A lot of big time pirate game fans are very upset.
Oh yeah,
they think it's dog shit.
Yeah. Well, again, this is one of those things where it's like, Is it dog shit because it costs $70? Like, if it was $15, would you think it was dog shit?
According to them, yeah.
Okay.
What mostly comes down to the fact that they feel like there's just not a lot to do gameplay-wise.
Sure. Well, all you do is the same thing over and over again. You just blow up a ship and then board it, and blow up a ship and then board it.
Yeah, but like it's not even like fun boarding. Like, it's just like it's a cutscene kind of thing. And whereas like a lot of people wanted either like what Assassin's Creed Black Flag was type thing.
Yep.
Or there's some older pirate games that they're like, we just wanted newer versions of this type of game. I forgot what it was called. I think it was just called Pirates. I can't remember the name of it. But a lot of people were talking about on Reddit and Twitter.
Sure.
Where they're just like, look, a lot of these people really are itching for a new pirate type game.
Yep.
But this just is not it. This just ain't it.
This ain't it, Chief. Yeah. I think if you paid... I have a hard time these days because I think that there's a lot of games... I find it hard to reconcile the value of games. Like, is this game worth $70? And that's such a subjective opinion that I almost never factor it into my overall idea, right?
Oh, it's impossible to really know if it's worth that to everybody.
Yeah.
Like, I'm the guy who played the shit out of Avengers.
Sure.
Like, and there's plenty of people who really love a lot of live service games. I'm sure there's a Redfall guy out there. There was a Babylon Falls guy.
Yes.
Like, that one guy. Yep. They exist. It's just, who knows? That's the problem.
Yeah. It's funny because I actually was having a pretty good time with Justice League, the Suicide Squad Kills Justice League. And then like another game came out, and then like I played another game, and I was like, "Ooh, that game!" Like, I am not the person for your live service game because I'm like a baby with jiggly keys. You just be like, "What about Ultros?" And I'm like, "Ooh, my life for Ultros! Fuck you, Suicide Squad!"
It's that fucking the Woody thing.
Yes.
Like, I don't want to play with you anymore. Except it happens every other time.
Yep.
If there's a new Buzz Lightyear every other day.
Every week there's a new Buzz Lightyear.
Yeah, I would like if Toy Story came out now, and I mean like the original plot of Toy Story now, he would have been going through toys like nothing. Like, Woody would have given up pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Like, that's just how it is, except that with games, like, no game lasts forever, no matter what.
True.
Fortnite is the only reason Fortnite has technically lasted as long as it does is because they keep adding more shit to it to the point where it's like, oh, I guess I'll keep playing it, but even then, people stop playing it for a long time, and then they'll just come back randomly.
And they're the only live service game that adds so much so often.
Yeah,
like they are like the gold standard for content delivery. Like with Destiny, it's like what you get like 2 updates a year, and with Fortnite, it's like, oh yeah, here's season 7 with the new battle pass, and you're like, ooh, I might want to check that out.
It's like
here's season 8, here's season 9, here's classic, here's Rock Band. What do you want? And I'm like, I'm gonna play Ultros.
I was like, oh, I'm almost done with this battle pass. I don't really think I should have to keep playing. It's like, here's a Ninja Turtle set of quests. If you finish it, you get the Super Shredder, and also it only lasts like for 2 weeks, you're like, man, FOMO is fucking nuts in Fortnite compared to any other game.
Yep.
It's fucking crazy.
It is. Let's see. In other Ubisoft news, Ubisoft had a big old strike last week.
Oh, okay.
This is pretty cool. Okay, so listen. Probably a lot of the people listening to this, not all of them, don't get mad at me, are in the United States, right?
No.
France has like unions and striking and stuff are like built into like their constitution and their government and stuff.
No.
So it's not something that like some asshole senator can fucking eradicate. So Ubisoft basically offered their employees across their French studios, like they were in negotiations with their labor union, and I love this story so much. Their labor union was like, it's been 5% inflation. You guys have been at your investor calls saying everything is doing well. Your CEOs are making profits, 5%. And they're like, 2%. And they're like, no, 5%, like 2%. Like, you are the one telling your shareholders how much money you're making every year. And they put out this scathing statement that were like, we are not prepared to subsidize Ubisoft's development costs at the expense of the people that work there. So last week they literally had like a day where every single studio in France that was a Ubisoft studio, they all went on strike for a full day and just like went outside of the studio with fucking signs going like, fuck you in French, fucking suck my croissants. And I'm like, wow, amazing. It's amazing to see a country with like strong labor laws.
Yeah, France is they strike hard.
Yep.
Like that's the thing. And they tend to usually get results because of it, but they fight super hard for their shit.
I love this infographic. Why 5%? It's equal to the group's profitability. It's equal to 2023's inflation. Management is defending, quote, very positive results, unquote, to its shareholders. Improving Ubisoft's economic conditions means producing games with better quality, games that we produce despite strategic decisions that are often as sudden as they are ill-considered. Like, I love also the fact that it's like, they don't give two shits. Like, fuck you guys.
They're like, yeah, come at us, dude. Fuck you.
Yeah.
Like that, France is their home turf. Man.
Oh, the last one is, for an equivalent level of qualification, video game employees are already underpaid.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Which, like... Ubisoft's just out here fucking crowing about their quadruple A games that are charging $70 for, and it's like, if you've got the stones for that, you probably don't want to like try to strong arm your employees in France.
If anything, this just sort of proves that maybe they're lying to their shareholders.
Well, that's the thing is, it's like, well, why can't you give us 5%? Did you not make as much money as you said to your shareholders?
Yeah. Like you gotta admit one or the other, buddy.
Yep.
Like that's what's happening here.
That's the shit that's on the table.
Either keep the lie happening or you just fucking go back to Singapore for more tax shit.
Yep. So, yep, and they totally struck, and everybody clapped. This was another bad working condition news. We got a Twitter thread.
Oh my god, I read this entire thread.
Did you read it?
I read it when it came out.
Yeah,
and because everybody was talking about it, like this is so fucked.
Yep, this is a guy called Chris Sayers on Twitter at Not So Little C, who has this whole saga of how basically they were moved from like a developer to a team lead, and they were promised that when they moved to team lead, they were going to have like the new title and a raise and the benefits and stuff. And then they started taking on all of the extra work of a team lead, but they never actually got paid to be a team lead.
Yeah.
And then when they went to HR was like, team lead isn't a promotion, it's a lateral move. No, you don't get any more money. They're like, no, that's not what we negotiated. And they were like, oopsie doodle, I guess, whatever. Like, what was the quote that the person at Blizzard was like?
You shouldn't have accepted, or you shouldn't have signed the contract or something?
It was like, why would we pay you more when we could get this amount of work out of you for what we're already paying you? It was it was one of the quiet parts out loud. They said, why would we pay you more than we have to? That doesn't make any business sense. And it's like, right, but you already agreed to pay him more.
That's in the contract, apparently.
And then, but then the cherry on top was like, eventually at the end of this whole saga, he was like, well, then I fucking quit. And they're like, well, then we're activating your 3-year non-compete clause that was in the contract that you signed when you got hired on here originally. That isn't always a thing, but it was just like vindictive a-hole bullshit. Like, because
actually, it wasn't like it wasn't even that long, but it was still like it was like 3 months, I think. But the man had a mortgage.
Yeah.
So he's like, I can't do that.
3 months. Yes,
Yeah.
it was 3 months.
Because 3 years, he would have sued the shit out of them probably.
Yeah. But then the rationale was like, well, you were a lead, so you have more knowledge about how operations work, so we are activating your non-compete because we can't just have you taking the stuff. And he's like, I never got paid for being a fucking lead.
I wasn't even technically a lead, babe, according to you.
Yep.
It was all fucked. Like everything you read about it, like the whole entire journey just makes you so angry.
Yep.
It's so fucked.
Especially because it's like, I've seen these corporate ass shenanigans before. Like, this is the shit that happens.
Yeah.
Like, this is why you want them French labor unions and shit, where they're just willing to step up and put their balls on the table and be like, suck them. Like,
Activision Blizzard just sounds like a shithole every time you hear more stuff about it.
it sounds like the kind of place, like, I feel like we've just seen this story 100 times. There was a core group of people that were the founders, and everything went very well for them.
Yeah.
And that, like, eventually they were oblivious, or maybe not, to all of this stupid horse shit happening downstream. And that it's like, there's a certain corporate mentality of like, of what that person said. Why would we pay you more? That doesn't make business sense. And it's like, because you don't want me to quit, asshole.
Doesn't make any sense.
Dude, I'm sorry. I'm going to do this as a very brief like plug. I was listening to Triple Click, and Jason Schreier finally announced that, like, in October of this year, his second book is coming out, and it's just Blizzard.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, I can't wait to fucking read that, because that dude gets the dirt, and he's spent like the last 4 years putting it all together into a timeline of a story that's going to show you from founding until like this year, like what the fuck has actually happened inside that company. And based on the stupid shit they've been doing for the last, like, because before even the acquisition happened, it was start with the Hong Kong stuff and Warcraft 3.
It was bad.
Like,
it was not like all of a sudden. It was it was a downhill spiral that just kept going.
Yep. Everybody that apparently knows what the fuck they're doing over there is left at this point.
Yeah.
So
or it turns out they were sex predators.
Right.
Kind of thing.
So
it was crazy. Like it was one thing after another for a very long time.
Absolutely. Let's see, another Overwatch 2 news. I don't know if you saw this, but Overwatch 2 did their update, and I think we talked about how they were going to be like self-healing in a lot of places.
Oh, yeah.
But one of the things that they did that's really fascinating is they changed a lot of the hitboxes. And Michael, you're going to live react to this. This is somebody showing what the changes are like. Okay, so you can see this, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is them showing where the hitboxes are now for
oh my god
players.
Oh my god.
So there's
holy shit,
a number of these showing that like you could just totally be shooting to one side of a person and like completely getting headshots when you're shooting, like just not even remotely like a half inch off of their
so
head,
far away,
and still be getting headshots like from this stuff.
That is horrifying.
Yeah, it's crazy. Like this is showing like like body shots.
Yeah, he's like to the super far right of Soldier 76.
He's like a half inch to the right with his reticle, and it's just fucking like slamming.
He's not even in the same zip code of Soldier 76 here.
Yep.
And he's just annihilating his body. This is unacceptable.
So
holy shit.
The idea here, right, is that that they've done this so that like more casual players will come back, because you don't have to get anywhere near somebody to get a hit on them. Like pro players are already hitting you directly in your face with every shot, but they might have overcorrected a little bit, because some of this stuff is just like real off, real, just nowhere near.
Like I'm fine if it's like the cone is like a little bit past them, sure.
Yeah.
But this is almost a whole other person to the right of them.
It's as if the
oh my god
characters have like big head mode or Donut Drake turned on, but they don't show it.
Yeah.
Like, it's just their regular character mode, but they're actually big fat guys with big head mode turned on.
It's like if you shot at Bruce Banner, but he had the hitbox of the Incredible Hulk.
Right,
is the best way of me putting that.
That's
because holy shit.
Yep. Like,
that's ridiculous. That's so bad. Oh my god. If I was playing Overwatch 2, I'd be like, no, I'm done. No, I'm not doing this anymore.
Yeah,
but luckily I stopped a long time ago, so holy shit.
It's absolutely ridiculous. Y'all should go online and look at these because it's just like the amount of off you can be and still get like headshots. Not even just like body shots, but like full headshots. I can't. So for me, I'm like, I can't imagine this is going to bring casual players back because they're just going to get smoked. Because apparently you could shoot just around the corner at them, like from the nearest zip code, and it's fucking fine.
You can't just hide behind a wall,
right?
And look to the right. You're just dead.
Yeah.
There's no ifs, ands, or buts about it.
Like people showing Hanzo, right? Like fully charged up shot, and then you get a headshot way easier, which is like 85% of your health off in one hit. Like,
that is just disgusting. That is disgusting. I don't like how that made me feel.
So you go back to Overwatch?
No, never.
No?
Twice as no. Jesus Christ.
Double no. I've
never been so turned off by a game than Overwatch 2 consistently does.
Yeah.
Every time there's something new about it.
It's true. It's very true.
It's like the opposite of fucking No Man's Sky, where it's consistently a downworld. They keep every time I think they hit rock bottom, they keep going.
They just keep
I don't understand how they do it.
Yeah. I don't either. It's kind of strange. Again, I've said this before, and I will say it again. It has been fascinating to watch Blizzard, a company which used to be like, I don't care what it is, I'll buy it. It's from Blizzard. That's a mark of quality. And now you look at their games, and you're just like, pass. That's okay. I don't like.
No, I'm good. I don't need any of this.
That's all right. Nope.
Overwatch 1 was such a huge hit that I just don't see how that. I don't understand how
like
they did this.
They're also. I cut the stories where they're fucking up Diablo.
Oh my
just
God.
boring. Like, there's a new season of Diablo and it's all fucked up. Woo! Like, stop the presses, you guys. I think there's been 3 so far, and they've all been fucked up in one way or another. In fact, I think there was like a microtransaction thing where it was like $60 for a pack of 3 Town Portal color skins. And
oh my God, that's gross.
What?
That's so gross.
Like, no, I don't want to play that game. It's gross. Yeah, exactly. I don't want to be playing a game that has a menu where I could even feasibly do that. Like,
that's so bad.
I'm able to ignore it, but like by the same token,
yeah, but kids are the ones getting fucked on these things.
Yep. Get the fuck out of here. Get the fuck out of here. Fuck out of here. Speaking of the fuck out of here, this is actually a rerun of a previous story that you and I have talked about. So, remember when we had that State of Play?
Oh, yeah.
And had the Silent Hill, and one of the trailers was for Silent Hill 2. And everybody was like, oh, it looks kind of bad. Like,
doesn't look great.
Everything's like wooden.
They keep showing a bunch of shooting.
Yeah, there's a lot of shooting, whatever. So people online, they fired up the old Twitter bot, and they went to @Bloober Team, and they were like, "Hey, what the fuck? You're shitting all over my childhood. You're desecrating classic." And once again, Bloober Team has come out. They're just like, we are not in charge of PR.
Yeah.
We didn't make that trailer. We also think it looks bad. We think it makes the game that we're making look bad. Talk to Konami, the people who are in charge of the marketing for this fucking game. Like, I find it really interesting that Konami just can't quit Konamiing. Like, they're desperate to keep everybody pissed off at them all the time.
Honestly, it just feels like Konami's just like, we don't know what we're doing we don't know how to do this anymore.
Yeah.
We stopped doing this for so long. You wanted a pachinko machine? We'll just give you a pachinko machine.
You
want to hang out at one of our gyms? Because that's what we know how to do nowadays.
Yep.
We don't know how to do games anymore.
Very true. So yeah, direct your ire towards Konami. I don't know. I still think that like that Silent Hill 2 remake could be okay, but then I'm not as emotionally attached to Silent Hill as a lot of other people are.
Yeah, that's the thing. As much as I liked Silent Hill, I'm not like Silent Hill 2. I don't have the fondness of it like the way I do, like, say, Metal Gear Solid 3. That's the one that I'm very much like, oh, if this goes badly, I may just fucking break into a Konami office and punch somebody.
I'm gonna burn this whole building down.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm more of a Resident Evil guy myself, and so I've been eating well over the last few years.
Capcom really knows what they're doing, and thank God for that.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Speaking of people who know what they're doing, that's not the case with the devs of Payday 3.
Oh, jeez.
So Payday 3 came out, and it you remember that happened?
No, that happened, and it did not happen well.
Didn't happen very well. People were not happy with a lot of the stuff. Apparently, Payday 3 is now working to try to do a redemption arc. So the first thing they're focusing on is trying to get an offline mode so that you no longer have to be always online to play the game. In fact, what do they called it? Like, it's called the new like initiative is called like Operation Medbag or something that. Like, so yeah, they're trying to take all the player consideration into account. I mean, it's one of those things, right? They spent years and a shitload of money making this game. They're not just going to throw it away because it didn't work. They're going to try to fix it at least for a year. They're going to add, they're going to add offline mode. They're going to add like they're taking out their whole like daily bonus achievement thing. They're going to try to optimize it so that it can be played single player if you want to, better than it can right now. So, we'll
tried
see.
Making really large hitboxes. That seems to be the new thing. That would be really funny if one of them did that.
Yep. I mean, what's interesting is that this is the devs for this are not the devs for Payday 2. They're all making that cyber Payday 2 that we saw the trailer for.
I didn't even know that.
Where it was like there was a guy in a chair and he was being interrogated, and then it turns out that the interrogator was actually the one that was like strapped to a VR headset or something like that.
I forgot about that entirely.
Den of Wolves. Yeah.
That explains a lot, actually.
Yeah. So I don't know. Maybe they'll be able to do it. I kind of wonder if, like, once you lose the momentum with something like Payday 3, can you get it back? Maybe. I guess it depends on whether the publisher will keep shoveling money to you as a developer. Like, if they'll keep you alive. If you don't have to rely on Payday 3 to pay the bills, then like you might have the time to be able to turn it around.
Yeah, and they need to be able to like tell people that, hey, we fixed it, kind of thing.
Right.
Which is the hardest part, even in general, when it comes to games. Because like you said, when we were talking about Suicide Squad Kill the Justice League, the second a new game came out, you're like, ooh, shiny.
Yeah.
Like,
was it on Game Pass?
We don't tend to go back right away. I don't remember. I feel like it might have been.
Was it on Game Pass? Why is Payday 3 on Game Pass? Why is Payday 3 on Game Pass? Quick reminder, this is Game Pass, Payday 3. Okay, guess it was on Game Pass. So
I'm guessing it was based on that many headlights.
Yeah, so I don't know. I mean, who knows? They could turn around. I always found the concept of Payday to be a little weird, to be honest, when there's games like GTA 5 online where you can do a heist with your friends, but you can also just drive around and do whatever you want.
I think the main reason is because its shooting mechanic is much tighter.
Yeah.
And I think and since it's all based specifically around it, it makes it that much more fun to hang out with your friends on that.
Sure.
Whereas GTA Online is more like, I'm kind of bored with this heist. Let's go just fucking see if we can make a tank fly.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. In other games that didn't go well, IGN had an article. They had a really interesting kind of report that they did where they talked to a bunch of developers. And one of the things that came out of it that's been making headlines is talking about Immortals of Avium.
Oh, God, yeah.
So... They really missed the point.
Oh, no, 100%.
The developers they talked to, I don't know if you've seen the quotes from this.
I've seen all the quotes, and I've seen so many people shitting on their quotes.
Yeah.
And it's so funny.
Where one of the developers said, it's not a sequel or a remake. It doesn't take 400 hours to beat. It has 0 microtransactions, no pointless open world grinding. Although not everyone enjoyed it, it reviewed pretty well, currently sitting at a 74 on Open Critic and mostly positive on Steam. No one bought it. And they're like, so you can't even tell what gamers are going to like. And like, I hate to be the guy to say this, but like, it didn't sell because it wasn't very good. Like,
well, not only that, it sold in between fucking Armored Core 6,
right, and Baldur's Gate 3. Yes.
And I was reading a bunch of the comments because, like I said, people have been they've been posting the rebuttals against this entire time.
Yeah,
about half of the comments under these are always, I didn't even know this game fucking existed.
Right.
Like they did a terrible job selling this game.
Apparently, though, the marketing budget, they spent $85 million on the game and $40 million on marketing.
How?
I don't know. I don't know.
I remember when we went to when we decided to do the episode, and I was like, "Oh, this game came out."
Yeah,
I had no fucking idea it came out. Well, until we did it.
There's also, but see, the problem is that like they pretend like it was fine, except for that, but it wasn't fine.
It wasn't.
It ran like ass, and like the main character was unlikable. You remember that big ass prologue that took 40 minutes, where they were like setting up the world of red, green, and blue magic, and I'm like, who wrote this? A baby? Like this.
Also, I guess the twist, as it turns out, because I made a joke about it in one of our videos, and then I looked it up. So, oh no, that's exactly what happened.
And they spent all this money on Hollywood people to be like the main guy and like the lady, and like it's like you didn't need any of that shit. Well, you know what? I had just as good a time playing. I might have had a better time playing Graven when we played that as I did playing Immortals of Avium, and that game cost like what? Fucking 60 times what Graven cost. There are plenty of lo-fi first-person shooters that I will play because they're fun. That game wasn't fun. Even when we got to the point where we were playing the game, it didn't run very well, and so it wasn't fun.
Yeah.
Like, if you guys wanted it to be good, you should have hired a better story person. You should have cut back on the Hollywood talent. You should have done it on Unreal Engine 4 because UE5 was doing you no fucking favors. Like, it came out like Jedi Survivor and a lot of those other games, like running like ass on day one. And then, you lost a bunch of people because you didn't make a very good game. Like, Dave the Diver is not a failure story, and that game probably cost like a fraction of what this cost, but it was delightful, and it was fun, and it was charming, and it had a good concept, and it was like $20. And you put out this big budget game in a world that nobody had heard of, but also nobody fucking cared about. Like, I can't get over this. Like, you didn't make a very good game. They're like, oh, it got 70 on Metacritic. 70 is not good enough, my man. Like,
it just reminded me of that episode of BoJack when he's talking to the penguin at the bookstore thing, and he's like, "Do you ever hear about this?" Swamp Monsters of Malibu? He's like, no. He's like, then why did we spend $50 million on marketing? like when you told me the marketing budget, I was like, there's no fucking way. Like, no one fucking knew this game existed. Yeah. What did they spend that money on?
Oh, no. The thing is that they did spend that money, but it was like, I saw a lot of ads on like gaming websites and like banner takeovers and like pre-roll ads in various places for it. The problem was that what they showed, like the moment that I showed you that first trailer for that video game, when you saw, I don't think I did. When you saw the first trailer for that video game, were you like, oh, fuck yeah, I can't wait? Because
our first, I think we did do the podcast. I think the first thing we said was, I don't know. I don't know. It might
be okay.
It could be fine. It could be fun. It could be amazing. We won't find out until the game is in our hands because it was so weird looking.
Yep.
That we didn't know what the fuck was going on in it.
Yep.
And then when we finally did play it, we still don't know what the fuck was going on.
It was meh. It was meh. Like, it was fine. It was a 7 out of 10, which is not enough for my time these days.
No, especially not for a shooter.
Especially not in 2023 in between Armored Core 6 and fucking Baldur's Gate 3. Like,
it came out the worst possible time of that year.
Yep.
Like, it was just they killed it, and they don't even know that they did.
Yeah, it's one of those things that I think
you're pointing fingers.
Yeah, Spider-Man,
and not in a fun magic way.
Not in a fun Spider-Man way.
Yeah.
Yeah. So on the opposite side, in that same time period, apparently Baldur's Gate 3 made Hasbro $90 million in licensing fees.
Oh my god!
Like, it's just, we get a chunk of every unit you sell type of thing. So
that's a lot.
Yeah, they had overall revenues at Hasbro declined 15%. Due to a 19% drop in consumer products and a 31% decline in the entertainment segment. However, that was offset like by a full 10% increase in profits just from the digital division, just from Baldur's Gate 3.
Oh my god.
Like, just from Baldur's Gate 3.
They're going to learn the wrong lesson on this, by the way. Yes,
absolutely. That's the first thing I thought of.
But I'm curious as to see what will happen.
They're going to greenlight like a shitload of D&D games and then go, why aren't they buying them?
Why did we make $90 million on all of these?
Yeah. Because they had a bunch of licensed games before. They had the fucking Neverwinter MMO that didn't make any fucking money.
D&D games are not new, but this is the first time they've made them this much money.
Yeah. The problem is that there's about 10 studios in the world that can make a game that sells as well as Baldur's Gate 3, and it takes like 8 years to do.
Yeah.
So you could start now.
Baldur's Gate 3 didn't come out overnight.
Yeah.
That's the thing. Like,
Yeah.
that game was in early access for a very long time.
We did dojos on version 1.0 of Baldur's Gate 3. Like, it was totally different. Yeah. So do not learn the wrong lessons. However, Larian won a DICE award. They're at DICE this year. And they had a really great, like, I recommend everybody go watch it. They had a really great, like, acceptance speech where they basically just talked about the state of the industry. And, like, one of the things that they said was, like, we don't have shareholders, but if we did have shareholders, we wouldn't give a shit what they have to say. And it's funny because that made me look up, like, what Larian, how they're set up. Okay, 30% of Larian is owned by Tencent, but it's owned in a specific type of stock that gives them 0 voting rights. So they own the stock, but they just get dividends. They don't get any voting rights to be able to say what happens. Do you want to know who owns the other 70% of Larian stock?
Who?
Sven Vicky and his wife.
Really?
They are not a publicly traded company outside of that one thing.
That's
They're
amazing.
Completely privately owned by the fucking guy. No wonder he wears armor to all the awards.
Yeah.
Like, he's like, I don't give a fuck, man.
That dude is living the dream.
Yeah.
I can't help but love him.
All that profit. And you know what? During this acceptance speech, they talked about how it's like, what we believe is if you make a game without microtransactions that's a single player game that's made by people who like video games for people who like video games, you will become wealthy.
Yeah.
Like,
they will come. If you build it, they will come.
All this bullshit about Immortals of Avium, and it's just like, what if you made a game, a high-quality game for people that want to play a high-quality video game? Oh, shit, they bought the high-quality video game. Now I'm a fucking gajillionaire. Now I have enough money that I can keep the studio running for 30 years, and we don't even have to worry about it. Like, they started actually working on their next game, and they said they're like 5 years from even like talking about it.
DICE was a fun... Or the DICE Awards had some spicy stuff going on in it.
Yeah.
Greg Miller had this great joke that he did where he was talking about something, and then he's just like, yeah, the only thing worse than that is when you hear, hey, Embracer Group is here. Oh. And it cuts to the fucking Embracer Group CEO in the crowd.
Oh, yep.
And then it cuts back, and he goes, but seriously, they fucked it up for like a lot of people, for all of us.
Yep.
And it's just like, oh my God.
The one addendum to this was apparently, like, after they got their award, they went to the party, the like DICE party, and they couldn't go in.
Really?
Because it was at capacity.
That's amazing.
And it was like, guys, you kick out the people, you let the like people who got best game of last year, you let them into the fucking awards party.
Yeah,
like,
what the fuck, guys? That's fucking stupid. He should have came in there with a sword in his armor and been like, let us in, or I will slash you.
I'm pretty sure that dude was wearing his armor. Well, I don't know. They had a little picture.
He most likely was.
He wears it all the time.
He wears it a lot.
Yeah, I don't know. He's in this picture, but yeah, man, Baldur's Gate 3. And guess what? There was a new patch this week for Baldur's Gate 3 that added some new stuff, and just in time for Valentine's Day, they added like 4 or 5 new kissing your boo animations in the game.
There was a great tweet where somebody was like, I heard rumors that they're going to do this on this day.
Yep.
And then they've made a tweet going, well, now we're not going to do it.
Right.
Now I'm not going to.
They also added something which people, again, have been asking for a while. It used to be that when you wanted to change your party up, you had to go to your camp, you had to walk to somebody that was in your party, talk to them, tell them to leave, and then go to the person that you wanted to put in, talk to them, tell them to go in. Now, if you talk to somebody and say, I want you in my party, they say, okay, who do you want to leave? And you could just do it right there from the dialogue tree as opposed to having to run back and forth. And I appreciate the fact that, like, they put out a game that was rough around the edges, but was basically Game of the Year 2023. And yet they're still just like, we got to keep sanding these fucking edges down, man. We got to get these. I can do better. I can do better.
Yeah, this is going to be their legacy for years to come.
Yep.
And they want it to be as, and again, they, like you said, they love games, and they made this for the love of the game.
Yep.
And it shows.
They also had another thing where apparently if you were controlling if you had a party, you're controlling somebody that wasn't the main character, your custom character, and then you accidentally triggered a cutscene, that cutscene would play out with whoever triggered it as the person talking. But now it always diverts. If it's an auto cutscene, it always diverts to your main character as the one who's talking.
They just show up basically.
And then there's a bunch of bug fixes and other stuff. So yeah, and that patch is already out. Go get it. Go get it now. Okay, bad news for old Jeff.
I heard about this actually, and I thought of you immediately.
Yep. Katakawa put out a statement that basically said, when asked about the development status of the DLC for Elden Ring, they said, "We are currently working hard on development of DLC for Elden Ring, but we have not announced a release date at this time." There is a lot of, this doesn't mean that the DLC might not be coming out soon or even this year.
No.
But the thing is that there's a lot of people thinking they'll be coming out in February to coincide with the 1 year or 2 year anniversary of when Elden Ring came out.
And that controller.
Yeah, and the controller, all that other buzz, the Steam backend updates, all that stuff. Okay, they're probably not. We're recording this on the 16th. There are not that many days left in this month. There are like 13 days left in February. If they were going to put it out in February, they would have at least put out a trailer at this point, because they're not going to just drop it onto Steam and go, okay, whatever, bye. Like, they're going to put out some press for this.
It's going to be a huge spectacle.
Yeah.
And the fact that it hasn't is kind of crazy.
I still think they'll put it out this year, to be honest, but
yeah, I see it being this year, but the problem is no one has any idea when.
Yeah, the thing that's really tickling my mind though is, like, we know there's going to be DLC for Elden Ring. I just can't figure out, are they going to put out the Armored Core 6 remix re-release thing like they've done with every other Armored Core?
Oh yeah, I didn't think about that.
Because Armored Core 4 and then For Answer and then 5 and then Verdict Day and then 6, and then do you do the spin-off sub-story stuff with 6? Like, I don't know. It'd be interesting to see, because they put out kind of a game a year. And because last year was Armored Core, the year before was Elden Ring, and if they do the DLC this year, you could honestly see a second team working on Armored Core 6 Victorious that comes out next year, type of thing.
I'm curious. I'm curious if they'll end up doing that this time around.
Yep,
because they haven't done it in a while.
Okay. Oh, we got to get through some of this pretty quick. Let's see. Actually, I'm going to cut that, and then we're just going to do these two. There's a fake Day Before on Steam.
Oh,
don't buy it. Some scumbag company has taken one of their old games and literally just changed it to actually the same company name, like Fantastic, and
that's
they've
so weird.
Taken all the art, and then they're like, here's where it's coming back, everybody, but it's just some bullshit asset flip.
How do you even do that?
Because Steam is the wild goddamn west, and Fantastic is shutting down, and they've got other shit on their plate. So
so they're not even paying attention.
Yeah. Okay. Well, they put out a statement saying that this isn't us. Anyway, there was a talk with Hideo Kojima last week where he talked about why they're making what is the name of this new thing? Fizzant, their new stealth action espionage game. Apparently, this came because Hideo Kojima was very, very, very sick in 2020 and had to have surgery and almost died. And apparently when he was recuperating, he was thinking about all the people online who keep asking him to make a new Metal Gear game. And he was thinking about his legacy, and he was thinking about all the stuff that he wants to do in his life. And he was like, if all these people want a Metal Gear game and they love me so much, then I might as well just fucking make a Metal Gear game. And so apparently he started making it. There's y'all should go read this story because it's crazy. Apparently at one point he called up Guillermo del Toro and he was like, Guillermo, I think I'm making more of a movie. And he looked at it and he was like, you are making more of a movie. Keep making it. Keep going. And he was like, okay, I guess I'll do that. Also, I found out in this article, Hideo Kojima's 60.
Is he really?
Yeah.
That makes sense though, because the original Metal Gear is a very old game.
Yeah, no, he's been around for a long time.
Yeah.
I'm 45 and I was playing his games when I was 10, and he probably wasn't also 10 when he was making those games.
Yeah.
So it does make sense, but by the same token, I'm like, that dude's 60?
He looks great.
He keeps putting on fucking funky club gear, so he looks like he's in his 40s or something, right? He's like, no.
Yeah, my brain has thought he's been in his 40s perpetually
for the last 20 years.
A very long time, yeah. I'm very excited for this, though.
He says, I'll turn 70 in 10 years. I hope to never retire. Having said that, if users desire it so much, I thought I should change my priorities a bit. I still want to do new things, but decided to make an action espionage game. And actually, that makes a certain amount of sense because Death Stranding, Death Stranding 2. He wanted to make Death Stranding 2 to make a new franchise that was like his. OD that he's doing with fucking Jordan Peele, and then like after that he's like, fine, when I'm like 70 I'll make another Metal Gear game for you fucking nerds that want another Metal Gear game. And I'm just like, you do what you got to do, my man.
I'm here for whatever, Hideo.
Yep.
And I'm happy that you thought of me for once.
Yep. Yeah, and you know what, the last story is just super fast. One of the other things that fucking happened with I think this is another Embracer thing. The original team that made SSX Tricky was making a new snowboarding game, and it got axed.
Well, that sounds about right.
It was like the actual team that made SSX Tricky had reformed to make a new snowboarding game, and apparently they got like through a big chunk of it, and then it just got so.
God damn it! That keeps happening.
Yep. Boo.
Fucking Embracer.
Anyway, with that, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to go ahead and take a break, and then we come back. We are going to do trailers, so stick around. And we're back. Sorry, that was weird. I had to look, make sure everybody was recording. And it's time for trailers. Before we get to trailers, there was one last news story that will bring us in. We got our first look at the new quote-unquote unified Lara Croft from the next Tomb Raider game that Crystal Dynamics is making. So this is the Lara Croft from the Shadow of the Tomb Raider, the trilogy.
The trilogy, okay.
Yeah. But this is her now, like, fully grown and wearing the teal tank top and the shorts and all that stuff.
So they fused the together is is the reason they call it the unified.
Yeah, because she's still got the facial structure of the lady, the character model from that, and then like this little pendant that she's wearing that's part of the previous game. So
that's fun.
The internet seems like it's like, hooray, Lara Croft, Tomb Raider. I'm kind of very neutral about Lara Croft. I don't really care that one way or another. Like,
yeah, I grew up on Lara Croft, but it was the same reason most people grew up on Lara Croft.
Sure.
Because
the triangles.
They were an Indiana Jones type thing, and it was a huge thing.
Yep.
It was a huge deal for a PlayStation game to have that sort of type of adventure thing in that sort of presentation. And also we liked the triangles.
Yeah.
But like I never really cared for it because it was really difficult for me to control, and then it also was really fucking weird as shit.
Yeah.
Kind of thing. So I never like my nostalgia for Lara Croft is purely in a weird horny spot, I guess is a better way of putting it.
Okay.
But even then, like, I still don't really care all that much about her.
Well, hey, guess what? Our first trailer is the remaster of those exact games.
Okay.
The launch trailer for the Tomb Raider 1 through 3 remaster, which by all accounts looks like it's a pretty good remaster. It's a little strange, though, that it's like they've done a lot of good work on, especially like the character models. And then like some of the environments look good, but whenever there's just like jaggedy rocks or like some of the old animations look a little rough around the edges. But for getting Tomb Raider 1, 2, and 3 with some like nice lighting upgrades and and kind of a remaster, it looks pretty good. Like
it looks great.
I mean, it's definitely not a full remake, but if you're nostalgic for those original games, then this is probably a good little package to get. So, also apparently it has like the ability to just at one button switch between just the original graphics because it's a 1-to-1 of the original and then the remastered updates.
I saw some people messing around with that because of the some of the textures because since there's no PS1 game, some of the background stuff was just like a like a PNG basically. It's just like if you walked around it, it followed you, so it tried to make it look like a 3D thing.
Oh,
It actually made like a 3D model version of whatever that is, kind of thing.
Well, I did see a really weird thing in a Digital Foundry video where there's like ladders, and they have like it's like a picture of a ladder on the side of like it's a flat texture, but they've got like a shadow under them to make them look like they're 3D. And in this new version, they move the shadow when you look at it, so it's not entirely 3D, but it just looks a little better. Like, okay,
that's kind of fun.
Yeah, give Lara Croft a little bit of love. We got a brand new Princess Peach Showtime trailer. with some new outfits for Ms. Peach. Figure skater, that's whatever. I don't care about that. But we've got the what was this called? Like gentleman dashing thief Peach.
She looks like something out of Persona 5.
A lot of people are saying that, but I just feel like it's like this is kind of like elevator action or just I don't know old like Lupin type of stuff. Mermaid Peach singing in the ocean, apparently doing that thing. So it looks, this one doesn't have her moving around very much, so it looks very much like a rhythm game.
Yeah.
And then some kind of like Super Sentai, Mighty Morphin Power Peach type of thing.
Mighty Peach.
Which I was like, oh. In fact, I need to tell Matt to make sure that he's watched this because I'm pretty sure if he hasn't already, he needs to draw that. That her outfit looks like Matt Frank did draw it.
It does. It really does. I saw a great tweet about this that made me laugh because it was around the time of the rumors and stuff, and they're like, it's like Xbox, like we might have to just put all our games on other things. And it's like PlayStation's like, I don't know if we're going to sell as much as we did. Yeah. Nintendo, look at these outfits.
Yeah, and that's coming out at the end of March, so basically about a month away. More or less.
It's very exciting because I'm very happy that Peach is getting another game.
Yeah. Well, that Mario Donkey Kong game comes out. I think it actually might be out by the time this podcast comes out.
Most likely, yeah.
So, let's see. I put the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle trailer in here for you, Michael.
It's a fun trailer.
It's as been previously mentioned. Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles are now in Fortnite. Apparently, it's all 4 turtles, and then Splinter and April and Shredder.
Yeah, and the Super Shredder is as well. But the everybody except for the Shredder is a marketplace thing right now.
Oh, okay.
So you can buy all 4 turtles, and you buy Splinter and April. Shredder is part of their event thing. And you get them by buying like the premium version of the event. So technically, the first version of him is buyable, but the Super Shredder is more unlockable.
Okay,
through their event.
As a big fan of the Ninja Turtles, like this is obviously the Fortnite specific take on Ninja Turtles. Yeah. What do you think? How do you feel about these?
I think their designs are fantastic. Actually, I love the designs of all of them.
They're very distinct. Each one of them is very distinct.
Yeah, like the only one of the designs I'm not like super into is the Super Shredder, but that's only because they can't make him like bigger than he already is.
Oh, right.
Because of like hitboxes and shit.
Yeah.
But even then, it's still pretty nice looking design. Yeah, and the event has like like you can use their weapons as like an actual weapon because it's like the way the lightsabers were, where like you would get it and it would be a weapon.
Oh, okay.
So you can find like the turtles' actual weapons as like a gun essentially.
Okay,
but it's still like a melee attack. So that's kind of fun.
I think it's interesting how big Splinter is.
Yeah,
because he's just as tall as everybody else in this one.
They have to make everybody the same hitbox, so he's the same size.
So it's kind of interesting seeing like a very upright and tall Splinter, which is not something I feel like I've seen very often.
Yeah, the only other time I can definitely point out it happening was the 2012 show, where he's actually taller than the Turtles.
Oh, okay.
Because he looks like a full-grown man compared to them being like a teenager.
Yeah,
kind of thing. I think that's one of the only times I've seen that.
All right. Well, there you go. Who's next? Who do you think is next?
And that will pop up?
In Fortnite. Yeah, who's the next character in Fortnite? What do you think?
There were some rumors about something, but I can't remember what it is right now.
Captain Planet. With the alternate Don Cheadle Captain Planet skin.
I would. The worst part is I absolutely would buy that.
I'm trying to think of people who are not already in.
That's the problem. People keep popping up in Fortnite. That like we got Snake and Raiden in there, kind of thing. And I'm like,
what they've been? What's the thing? There's
like Kratos was already in it. So was Master Chief.
Zagreus. Get Zagreus.
God, I would love that. I would love everything about that. Well, Homer Simpson hasn't been a thing yet.
Oh, that's true. The Simpsons haven't been in there.
Like Futurama got in there before they did.
That's true.
Bob's Burgers, that could be a thing.
They did Jujutsu Kaisen. They did My Hero Academia. What's another really popular? One Piece. Have they had One Piece?
No, not that I know of.
They could do One Piece.
I don't think Demon Slayer has been a thing yet either.
Oh yeah, Demon Slayer. That could be a big one.
Chainsaw Man. I could see Chainsaw Man.
I could see Chainsaw. Chainsaw Man would fit really well with that universe.
I see him doing that.
And people would buy the shit out of Power. Skin for Power.
Oh yeah, 100%
in there. Let's see. Another crossover news. We got the trailer for Mr. Krabs coming to Nickelodeon All-Star Brawl 2.
I love Mr. Krabs. Is
this convincing you to buy Nickelodeon All-Star?
No, because
no?
I don't want to play that. Like the game, that game isn't all that. Like as much as there's love in the game, I still don't feel like the game works for me.
It's just like I feel like with a Smash style game. As a fan of Smash, as a fan of fighting games, do you feel this, that like it's a Smash style game? And you're like, how many characters are there? 20? God, get the fuck out of here with your 20 characters. You can get back to me when you got like 50. Okay.
Honestly, the issue isn't even that. The issue is the lack of like sound effects and sounds that were throughout the game. When we were testing out like everybody's supers, I was like, this is super awkward because the sound effects just aren't.
Was that in 2 as well?
The ump, yeah, you remember, because we were doing it, and we were like, there was not a lot of sound effects in this specific thing that's happened. Like the issue is like the sound design in the game isn't there the way even Smash 64 was.
Yeah.
And I think that's really, they don't seem to really understand how important that is to make you feel like the oomphs for hits kind of thing.
Fair enough.
If that makes sense.
Maybe they'll get their shit together and then it'll come to like Game Pass or PlayStation Plus or something like that.
Yeah.
Let's see. Another crossover news. Microsoft Flight Simulator finally got their Ornithopter Dune tie-in.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Yeah. They've also got a little Arrakis map that you can fly around on that's just nothing but deserts and sandstorms and rocks and stuff like that.
The movie's coming out soon, isn't it?
I think it's already out.
Is it already out?
Well,
I know the premiere happened.
Yeah, I know the premiere happened. It's out very soon. Whatever
That's
it is,
probably
coming
why
out very soon.
it's finally coming out, because I feel like they announced this a while back.
Yeah, they did. I think that this is one of those things where it's like, sometimes the crossover stuff bugs me, but like, nah, this makes sense. Like, if you wanted to have a tie-in for a thing, putting like a very strange craft inside of Microsoft Flight Simulator, that makes sense. Of course, it doesn't look like there's actual like missions or it's like character models and stuff going on in here.
Yeah, I think that's what makes it more interesting than like say the Halo one, where it's just the Pelican.
Oh, the Pelican, yeah.
Because it was just the Pelican in like normal ass area, kind of thing. Where this is like, oh, this is an actual. You did a lot of work on this.
It was like an Arrakis map.
Yeah.
Yep. So it's out. Let's see, another space news. Fucking, I don't know when I'm going to get to stop having this story, Michael.
Yeah.
No Man's Sky's got a new update called Omega.
You've done enough, guys. Just relax. You don't have to keep doing this anymore.
They can't be selling that many more copies.
No.
Like, doesn't everybody already own this game? Like, I want to know what the global full lifetime sales for No Man's Sky are now.
The player count must be consistent for them to keep doing this.
Yep. New ship. I think one of the biggest new things is there's three big new things. One, there are joint quests that you can now do where you can like get a group of people together and do kind of like a raid. Two, you can now board and capture pirate dreadnoughts.
Oh my god!
So you can knock down the shields and then dock with them and shoot people on the inside. I'm like, well, now you're speaking Jeff's language.
God damn, guys, you've outdone yourselves every time.
Also, the Atlas like story, like the main story with the big red sphere thing, has been like reworked, and then it's got an end game that now has like specific like things that happen in the end game. And you get like loot from it. So there's like a specific jetpack and like a scepter that you get for quote unquote beating the game.
Oh wow.
Yeah, by the time this comes out, it'll already be over. But they're also like it's for free update. Everybody can play for free this weekend.
Time,
so
man. No Man's Sky, man, they're just going.
Yep,
they've. God, stop.
Sean Murray takes that shit real fucking seriously.
Just make No Man's Sky 2 at this point, man. Just fucking do it. At least then people will be excited again.
Well, no, they're making that new one with the Earth thing, right? The full planet.
Right.
Yeah. That they announced at the Game Awards.
Oh my god. You guys. God bless you for doing this.
It was funny because I think I was watching a What Happened. I think it was the one for Black.
Oh,
and
yeah.
talked about how Sean Murray he was with Criterion back in the Burnout days.
Oh, I didn't even realize that.
Before he went off to go do all this shit. So I think that's what it was. I could be wrong about that, but
when Black came out, that was a crazy game.
Yep. Let's see. That Outcast game that I keep talking about is getting a full demo
fun.
in like the beginning of March. for the PlayStation. So I don't know if it's going to be on other platforms, but they kind of little montage trailer of action stuff. I don't know, man. Like, this looks very generic, but it looks like the kind of generic that I would be into. I'm just like, yeah, fly around. It looks like Just Cause sci-fi. Fly around, shoot some aliens, do some quests.
It's the old type of generic.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand what we mean by that. But if you grew up in that time frame, you know exactly what I fucking mean.
Yeah. I don't know. I think it looks pretty cool. I'm actually kind of interested in playing this, which is weird because I played the original a long time ago and I bounced off of it. And now I'm like, I don't know. This new one looks pretty action-packed and cool. Like,
yeah, they look like they're really trying to make it be more modern for people.
Yeah. I like a game where you can fly around.
Yeah. I'm a big fan of that.
Make a Superman game. You fucks.
Yeah, I don't know why they just don't fucking do it. It was like, it would be too powerful. I'm like, that's what I want, you dumb fucks.
Actually, have you considered that James Gunn putting out a very popular Superman movie might actually get somebody to be like, we should make a Superman game?
That's all I want.
Like,
that's all I want. I want it to sell like gangbusters, so people are like, let's do more Superman things again.
Yeah.
Because we have been getting a lot of more Superman things. The only thing we haven't been getting are games.
Yep.
And that frustrates me, the no ad.
Very true. I mean, there was like Granny's Peach Tea Simulator, but that was weird. And it was only on Steam and it was NSFW, and I don't know. Nobody should be playing that.
No one should.
In other sci-fi
news, it still had Jesse Eisenberg though somehow.
There's a game called Pinball M that's like a pinball simulator, and they put out a fun little like System Shock table, like the System Shock remake. It's got Shodan talking to you, and it's got the little weirdos in places. And I like it when games do like digital pinball crossover stuff. So
yeah, I was a big fan of what was Pinball FX or whatever.
Yeah,
they just had a shit ton of like different movie ones,
and like those ones that had like Marvel ones, I think.
Yeah,
and stuff
Marvel,
too.
Archer, Bob's Burgers.
Yeah,
there's an American Dad table in that.
There you go.
I was a big fan of that thing. I think I bought most of those.
Yeah,
at least the ones I wanted from it.
I've always thought about trying to put one of them on RageSelect, but I just don't think it would be interesting to watch us play digital pinball.
Not really. It's just pinball. Like, if you've seen pinball, you mostly have seen it 1,000 times.
Yeah. Yeah, it looks pretty cool. We got the early access launch trailer for Fight Crab 2.
You're doing a second one already?
Yep. And this one, you have little guys that ride the fight crabs on their back. And it looks just as fucking nuts as the first one.
Yeah.
Like, it looks absolutely crazy. There's something about like being able to import like avatars from that VR chat thing that people make or whatever.
That's gonna be pretty fucking cool.
There's also like some there's like a story, and there's characters, there's like training montages of having your crab hit stuff. It looks completely berserk, and apparently it's out now in early access, so I gotta figure out where we're gonna put fucking Fight Crab in the mix, because Fight Crab looks, I mean, like, that crab had like wings and like fire coming off of it. Like, I don't know what this is. Yeah.
Well, I feel like it was only yesterday when the first one was announced. And now there's a sequel. That's crazy
like
to me.
10 years ago at this point.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like now there's fight fucking shooters now.
Yeah.
With crabs or whatever, the crab shooter thing that we did a while back.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I forgot what that was called, like Death Crab or something like that.
Like, there's a lot of crab related things. Isn't that Dark Souls crab thing still happening?
That's still happening, but it's not out yet.
Yeah.
That's one where if you put it on easy, they just give you a gun.
Yeah.
Your crab just gets a giant fuck off gun that you can use to just shoot people. Yeah, I don't know what it is with crabs. People love them crab games, man.
People love crabs. Everything comes back to crabs. That evolution gun always turns people into crabs.
Yep.
Every time.
Let's see. Did you know that Small Land came out this week?
Really?
That game where you play as like a little elf, like
I
a
feel
tiny
like
little elf.
They just announced that shit.
It was a PS5, like Unreal Engine 5 thing that looked really nice. It was like, it was like 8 or 9 months ago that they announced it, and they're like, boom, out. It's out.
That's
you can play it right now. I'm not sure.
I wonder if people end up liking it more than Grounded or vice versa.
Yeah, it seems like it's got a little bit more of a focus on, it's got a little bit more like medieval realism, I think, than Grounded. Grounded had a very kind of tongue-in-cheek.
Grounded was the Honey I Shrunk the Kids type of like look and like and tone, where this is more like what the fuck was the name of that fairies one with the. I don't know. There's a lot of there was a lot of movies back in the day that had that sort of theme of like tiny fairy people.
Yeah.
In like the real world.
Yeah.
Like it's that idea.
even though you can make giant weird houses. I just they keep making their little houses, and I'm like, surely a person is going to walk by and be like, "This is a tiny little fucking house," and just step on it.
See, what the trick is you have to live in like Norway or whatever the fuck that place is, where they don't fuck with those houses.
Oh yeah,
because if they do, they're very serious about that shit. By the way,
if you find a fairy house, you leave that shit the fuck alone.
it's like elves or something, like elf houses.
Okay,
and they're like you don't fuck with elf houses. If you fuck with elf houses, you're fucked. Is like the idea.
Okay. But yeah, Smalland out now. Let's see from there. We have the launch trailer for Lords of Exile. I put this in here just for you, Michael, because this is a throwback, like 8-bit kind of action game that looks like it's got a fair amount of kind of like Metroid-esque, like kind of old NES gameplay. It's like a guy and like a ghost samurai.
Yeah.
But then there's also like you can play as a guy, or you can play as like there's like a girl ninja that you can play as, and it looks a lot like, it reminds me of those Bloodstained demake games.
Yeah.
Where
it's like a fusion of Shinobi and like Castlevania.
Yeah, there's a lot of the weapons that seem like they're just like straight up from Castlevania.
Yeah.
Or like Ninja Gaiden or something.
Yeah, like her run cycle for the woman is just like the Ninja Gaiden run cycle.
Yeah. I don't know. I thought this would be the sort of thing. I know that you like these kind of throwback games.
I love these. And this looks great. Like like who's making this?
It's like a little indie studio. It's on let's see, PID Games and Squidbit and Pixel Heart, and I don't know which three of those.
I've never heard of them.
Publisher, but Squidbit Works, published by Pixel Heart. So yeah, but it's on the PlayStation, it's on PC as well.
Nice.
There you go.
Yeah, I love that we're in an era where like if somebody's like, I wish we had more of those games, and somebody goes, I'm just gonna fucking do it then.
Yep.
And then we get them.
Well, especially because I feel like the 8-bit pixel game was like one of the earliest renditions of an indie game.
Yeah.
And so there are now just like a shitload of tools to make that stuff like super, super easy. All you have to do is just have a good idea. Like there was that game that we played, or no, it was a man and I played it, that was like you're playing as like a silver samurai kind of shogun guy fighting like cyber demons. Like last year, I think.
Oh, wow. That sounds awesome.
There's a lot of those out there.
Yeah, I'm very happy that that's still a thing.
Yep. A Little to the Left is coming out on consoles.
Oh.
So an announcement trailer where they put little hats on everybody. So it's coming out on the PS5 and the Xbox. It looks like they're also going to be selling the DLC for it. And then on Xbox, it'll be on phones with xCloud. You can use the touch controls to play it that way. So
nice.
I was happy when I listened to Triple Click and Maddie Myers was talking about this game as they're like, they have the thing at the end called One More Thing where they talk about things they've been doing and watching, and they were talking about how like this game really put them off because it seemed like you'd have to be a psycho because you'll open a drawer that has like a thing in it that has like a custom area where only like a stapler could fit, and you're just like, this isn't how normal people live, you guys.
No, yeah.
Like they talked about how it would be great if it turns out that this was like a serial killer house where everything had to be very specifically in its one and only place, or else people were gonna die.
God, yeah, that would be pretty funny.
I like unpacking more, but hey, it's out.
Yeah.
So there you go. Boom. A little left. We got the news that the last Ys game, Ys 10 Nordics, is going to be coming out in the United States. So came out in Japan in September. There's some anime ass Vikings.
Yeah.
It's all like very Nordic dress with very anime looking protagonists doing some anime bullshit. But yeah, so it's getting a Western release later this year. So
good for those people who like that.
Yep.
Here in America.
Hey, you know what? Apparently the lesson of over the last like 10 years is that just like JRPG fans will buy whatever.
No, it's true.
They'll buy whatever and they will buy it all. It doesn't matter how much, they'll buy it.
A lot of people don't realize that a lot of Japanese games would sell here really well and they wouldn't even have to dub them.
Yeah.
We're at that point where that's no longer an issue.
This was really interesting. I don't know if you've seen this. Deep Rock Galactic, the dwarf mining game, has a spin-off called Deep Rock Galactic Survivor, and it came into early access this week. This is Vampire Survivors, but with Deep Rock Galactic.
Yeah.
Where, like, it's an auto shooter, but then you have to, like, mine to get upgrades and to do stuff. But then every time you level up, you get to choose between a few different choices. And there's, like, 4 different classes. And as you play it, it upgrades. And it's kind of, you get into, like, huge swarms of the bugs. It's kind of impressive that they've managed to do here. I actually bought this because I really like Vampire Survivors, and I played it yesterday, and I was like, yeah, this is okay. And then I looked up, and I've been playing it for 4 hours, and I was like, oh, shit, never mind, this is good.
Yeah, and it's so fucking amazing that they still put the word survivor in it.
Yep. That's like the subtitle, basically, to it.
They've created a whole new genre on accident.
Yep. Vampire Survivors is a great idea of just like, yeah, some dude got some JavaScript and made a thing, and it's like sold a gajillion copies, and it's like spawned all these imitators and stuff. So,
like I said before, if you have a good idea, you can make a lot if you're the first one to do it.
Yep, you can make a lot of money. Maybe put like people that know what they're doing with video games in charge and not C-suite executives.
Yeah.
But yeah, this game is out. I recommend if you're into Vampire Survivors. Like, I know there's a few different spin-off games. There's been like 1 or 2 that have been, I've heard, are okay. But this one I like specifically because the mining aspect makes like obstacles. And so if you like basically push in the direction of a piece of rock, you can mine through it, and people have different mining speeds. So you can actually use that to create like choke points when like big swarms come at you.
Yeah.
And then there's also things that you mine that like go into the progression of how you level up or what you spend your money on in between turns. Pretty cool. It's a pretty fun little game. So
nice.
Yep. We'll have to put it on the channel at some point. The creator of Hello Neighbor has put out a beta and a video for their new game, RBO. Now, Michael, you'll never guess what kind of game RBO is.
Children versus adult people? Because that's what I feel like Hello Neighbor was.
RBO is it's just fucking Hello Neighbor, man. Like, it's Hello Neighbor, except one person plays as the neighbor. And then 4 people play as the people trying to break into the house to get stuff.
But that game already exists, though, doesn't it?
No, apparently. I think Hello Neighbor was single player versus the computer, and then they had a spin-off that was multiple people versus the computer, and then they had a VR version that was also multiple people versus the computer. And I believe this is the first time that it's people, and then somebody else plays as the neighbor trying to catch the people. And I'm just like you look at this like super janky prototype, and you're just like, that's just also Hello Neighbor.
Yeah.
Like, every time you make a game, it's just Hello Neighbor again.
Also,
like,
I can't help but laugh that they keep Hello Neighbor is just like, stop really trying to make Hello Neighbor a thing.
Right.
You had a great idea at first.
Yep.
And then you did something to just fuck it up. I don't even remember what it was.
I just don't think it was very fun to play when it came out. Like, I didn't think it was very fun to play.
I think it's also because like the mystery of it was like no longer interesting. Was the other thing, because they story-wise they had no idea what the fuck they were doing with it.
Yeah,
and it really ruined the whole idea of it. Because like the basic concept of it was really fun, and then they just kept adding things that made it more annoying because they started explaining things that didn't make any sense.
Yeah,
I don't know. That's like Hello Neighbor. They thought they got something and they just keep pushing it, and I don't think they understand that no one fucking cares.
Well, what's funny is just the idea that this is like the 4th or 5th game that this person has made, and it's just the same thing.
It's the same thing. Although it looks like the idea is that you're robbing the place,
sort of,
because it looks like they're putting like things of money inside of a car.
I mean, who knows if that's just a prototype for for this is obviously made with like really basic assets.
Like, it's like it's like more of a Home Alone idea, and then you were just like Marv and fucking
right.
Whether you forgot Joe Pesci's character's name. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
I don't remember. Yep.
I always remember Marv because he always says Marv. Yeah. So it's hard not to remember that name.
Yeah. Weird. It's very weird.
I want to say it's Frank, but I don't think it's Frank.
I could type in wet. I could type in wet band.
We're the sticky bandits now.
Harry and Marv.
Okay.
Harry and Marv.
Harry and Marv.
So, yep.
I love those guys.
Yeah.
I didn't rewatch Home Alone for Christmas this year, so that's the reason I forgot right away.
There you go. Let's see. We got a few more things to finish up with. We got our PlayStation Plus stuff.
Is this the monthly one?
For March, or for or February revealed. And there's some interesting stuff on here. The Outer Worlds PS5 upgrade is on there. Yep. Tales of Arise is on there, which is good. And then there's some other stuff. Jet Moto 2 in the classics section. But yeah, if you've got this, I recommend everybody check out Outer Worlds if you've been waiting on that. And Tales of Arise was pretty good as well. So.
Yeah. And also Lego Jurassic World is on there.
See if you can get past where Matt and I totally failed.
Yeah.
Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
I always get lost in those Lego games, no matter what we do.
Can't figure out how the Lego games. There's also that Need for Speed game that came out, like the one with all the graffiti and the weird
about
stuff.
That.
Need for Speed Unbound.
Yeah.
Yep, that's on there too.
That did happen.
So, by the time you read this, it'll already be done, I think. Let's see, but. Dead Island 2 is coming to Steam, and they were giving away Dead Island Riptide for a few days there last week.
Oh, okay.
Dead Island 2 actually rules, and I totally, if you guys have been waiting for it to come to Steam, I just want to say, totally get it on Steam. You go back and watch any of the videos that we've made, and it's amazing and great, and I love it. So.
It's a miracle that Dead Island 2 even happened, but and is a good game.
Yep.
Like it's the exact opposit of Skull and Bones, I feel.
Yeah. It's super fun. It's very, very fun. So, yeah. This is a weird one. Star Control 2 is coming out on Steam. So, but it's coming out under the name Free Stars: The Urquan. So, Star Control 2 subtitle was the Urquan Masters. Yes. Here's the thing. The rights to Star Control got purchased from the people that made Star Control 2 a long time ago.
Oh.
Those rights are owned by Stardock, not the original creators. Star Control 2 is on Steam right now.
Yeah.
This is the original creators redoing everything with quality of life upgrades and making it compatible with modern systems and blah, 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 and then releasing it as a free product onto Steam separate from Star Control 2.
That's so weird.
Yeah. Very, very strange. But it's coming out on February 19th, so by the time you hear this, it'll probably be almost out. Oops, don't need Grand Blue Fantasy Versus. But yeah, it's very bizarre. It's very strange.
Yeah, it's a super bizarre story.
This whole week has just been full of okay, let me tell you a story about something that happened that was fucked up in the video game industry.
Yeah. So weird.
In fact, here's another one right now. There's a game called The Thaumaturge, which was a a narrative-focused top-down. It was it looks like kind of a Diablo viewpoint, but like an adventure game. But then it goes into cutscenes. But then it also has turn-based card combat where you use evil demon powers, and it's set in 1905 in Hungary or something like that.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So this was supposed to come out. Warsaw, not Hungary. This was supposed to come out this month, and the developers looked at the release schedule and they went no, we're not going to do that.
We're not going to do what Immortals did. We're not crazy.
So they're pushing it back to March for no other reason than just to not compete with stuff. Because I don't know if anybody's forgotten, but Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out at the end of this month.
Yes.
You do not want to go head to head with that thing. People are crazy for that game. So
no one should go head to head with that thing.
I mean, next week, that Pacific Drive game comes out. You're driving a station wagon into the weird exclusion zone in Seattle. The Dark Forces remaster, that Mario Donkey Kong game. There's a lot in this month. It's just February.
February is packed.
I'm already exhausted. I started doing March. My goal, March is just as packed.
Is it really?
It's pretty big. Here, I'll let you guys know. I haven't finished the schedule yet, but I just looked at what's actually coming out in March, and let's see. WWE 2K24, Unicorn Overlord. Homeworld 3 got moved back. That Outcast game. Alone in the Dark remake, Dragon's Dogma 2, Princess Peach Showtime, South Park Snow Day, Rise of Ronin, as well as a bunch of other stuff that's just like...
I didn't realize Rise of Ronin was coming out that soon.
I mean, some of that could be... this is just based on what I've looked at so far. So,
okay. Yeah, that's already pretty packed, yeah.
Yep. Okay, let me tell you a crazy ass story.
I heard about this too, actually.
This is some weird shit. So there were some F-Zero games that came out on the Satellaview console back in the old days. So this was like one of those, you put a cartridge in and connect it to your modem and then like download a game and you could play it. And these games have been considered lost. There was like an F-Zero game that had a certain number of tracks and some new cars and things like that. These have generally been considered lost for a long time. But not that long ago, there was a YouTube channel that got all of the broadcast of the Satellaview stuff, which included all of the footage of these games. And some fucking crazy-ass person built an AI engine to watch this. This was an engine that was originally built as a speed running tool, where like it would watch somebody play Mario and then figure out the button inputs that would lead somebody to do. It was for Mario speed runs.
Yeah,
they used a modified version of this to watch this game be played and then create like the track layout from what they were watching happen on this TV broadcast. And then as if that wasn't crazy enough, they fucking went in and recreated this tracks using like F-Zero assets to create a pixel perfect version of these games, which apparently wasn't even totally done until like January of this year, because like they were still looking for background assets.
Oh, okay.
And then in F-Zero 99, they finally found some of the assets that they needed that came from this like Satellaview thing, and they were able to get them in there in order to complete this thing. And like the whole story is fucking nuts. There's
crazy. You should.
Yeah, there's a video on Did You Know Gaming's website or YouTube channel that goes into the very specifics of this. So like, yeah, this is like on here, this thing on the left is the footage. This thing on the right is their like analysis AI engine, like doing the button inputs. And then at the bottom, this is like it creating the track based on inputs. Like,
so the funny thing about this news story is the kerfuffle around the reporting about this news story.
Oh, yeah?
Did you know about this?
No, I didn't know any of that.
So when Did You Know Gaming came out with this video, Kotaku, the exact article that we're looking at right now, didn't credit them in any shape, way, or form.
Oh, shit. Okay.
And it became a huge kerfuffle on Twitter for like days.
Huh.
Looks like they finally updated it.
Yeah, it's in there now.
They finally updated it to give all the right crediting, because before when they finally did credit, it was just like a small sentence, and they're like, guys, put the video in there, like minimum, guys.
Right, because apparently they contributed a lot to this process.
Yes, those are the reason they're like, look, Kotaku, like you're trying to get all these clicks off of our hard ass work, and you didn't even bother fucking mentioning us, kind of thing. It was crazy.
Huh.
Yeah, this was going on for days.
Wow.
And it finally like culminated apparently for them finally doing it. So that was the reason I found out about the story to begin with.
Oh, there you go.
So yeah,
I didn't know any of that. I just read the story
all over Twitter, them fighting Kotaku for like days.
I like the fact, Michael, that these days you know the Twitter drama and the Reddit drama, and I'm just like, I just got the story. That's all I got.
It's a lot of fun.
So.
It's a lot of fun. It's the whole reason I'm still on Twitter, because I keep finding some dumb shit that happens.
Yeah. All right, let's finish up with a couple quick things. Cosmic Wheel Sisterhood, the weird tarot game that Tessa and I played for Valentine's Day, teamed up with a sex toy shop.
Oh my God.
To put out a card game and a giant fucking dong of like this big demon guy that is like one of the big characters in the game, and it's like a multicolored wibbly wobbly weird demon dong that you can get now.
Oh my God.
Yeah, it's called the Forbidden Love Collector's Package, and it comes with a bunch of cards and art stuff, but then also
but what if you only want
dog.
The cards and the art stuff? I assume there's a way to just get those.
You buy it all. You buy the dong.
Oh my God.
You get the cards.
That's amazing.
So
that's fucking crazy.
It's at Oh my god, I didn't realize that. The link to it was Daddy Abramar, which is the name of the demon.com.
That's fucked.
Oh wait, it's actually a giveaway.
Okay, so the dong is a giveaway.
I think it's all a giveaway. I think it's all a giveaway. Yeah.
This is a little more detailed now.
Yes.
This image that we're seeing of it.
You got to follow it on Twitter. You got to like and retweet. So yeah.
Honestly, you should just get one for liking or retweeting it to your public fucking account.
I don't know.
That's all I'm saying.
I think it's fucking expensive. Like, I bet it's expensive.
Most likely.
So
it looks like it's one of those companies that make those like really weird ones.
Yep.
Those dragon ones or whatever.
Yep. So yeah, if you want to go check that out, you can go check it out. And last but not least, as if the giant monster dong wasn't horrifying enough, Michael, we've gotten our first glimpse at Power World's Halloween costumes.
Oh, dear God.
They're making knockoff Power World Halloween costumes, which basically are and like, let me make this clear. They are of the pals. They're not of like people. They are skin tight bodysuits with specific branding on them, and then what looks like just foam front of face masks that you pull over them. And they are horrifying.
Yeah. All of them are just... you just want to kill it with fire.
And these are like, let's be clear, these are not official. They're on eBay and like Etsy and shit like that.
Yeah, because there's no way they would have had time to make these fast.
Yes, but they are horrifying.
The knockoffs of the knockoffs.
It's especially weird. They're like $20, right? I was considered buying one because they're $20, but
because they're trying to get them sold as many as they can before they probably get a cease and desist kind of thing.
It did make me want, like, because I'm not a guy who wears a skin tight bodysuit, Michael. I have shame and junk, but it did make me wonder, like, I want to make a Grisbolt costume, but like a big one, like one that's the right proportions.
People probably are working on that right now.
Yeah, but these are like, they reminded me of when I was a kid. The cheap Halloween costumes were like, it was like a plastic apron that just had like printing on the front,
picture of the guy on
and then like one really horrible plastic mask that went over the first half of your face. I had like a Boba Fett one, had all the Boba Fett stuff on the front, and then like a Boba Fett mask. I had a Superman one. I think that was my first Halloween costume, was Superman. But yeah, these are horrible. Don't buy them. Don't buy them.
I don't know if you do. Like, just send it to us.
You should pay somebody to make you a real one if that's what you want to do.
Yeah, if you really wanted to do that, you should
find a cosplayer. Pay like $500. Get a full one. Then you can wear it next year when nobody's playing Power World.
Yeah, those skin tight outfits they're very popular among like superhero cheap costumes because they work for those, but for that, no. Yeah, don't do that.
Yep. And that's our show. We basically went over on part 1 and part 2. And we're a little under on this part, but that's fine.
Yeah,
so
it evens itself out.
Yeah, there you go. Michael, why don't you tell them where they can find you when you're not over here? Help me look at the monster dongs and Power World ding dongs.
You can find me on oneofus.net. We do a lot of movie television reviews. I just did the Madam Web review.
Do it.
And it is a batshit insane review. Yeah. Is the best way of putting it, because Chris has a hard time corralling the three of us. It's insanity.
Who was the third person?
It was me, Wright, Nate, and Chris.
Okay.
And Wright got a little drunk at the draft house screening for it.
All right.
Nate had just got out of work, so he was in don't give a fuck mode.
All right.
And I was also just don't give a fuck mode because it was a stupid movie. And so Chris had a very hard time.
Sounds delightful.
It's a lot. It's actually a really funny review.
Yeah.
I actually listened to it myself again. I'm like, oh yeah, this review is solid because it's just us being stupid.
You always know that it's a really good one when you can go back and listen to yourself and you're just like, damn, I'm entertaining today.
It was really fun. Like, honestly, like, you're better off just listening to the review just because it's funny.
Yeah.
More than like us talking about the movie.
There you go. And then Patreon. Go to Patreon. Maybe. Give me money, please. I need it there's work
to buy Power World costumes.
I need Power World costumes. I've only got 3 of them. I need all 4. I need the Depresso one to wear while I do this to accurately, show people how I'm feeling, because my face doesn't work. I don't know where I'm going with this. It's Friday night and I'm very tired. Get out of my house. Get out of my podcast. Go. You don't got to go home. But you can't listen to this again unless you rewind to the beginning. Please rewind to the beginning, or I don't know, whatever. Bye.